So it's official. We're on.
We're
Took us a minute to
on.
get the tech thing worked out. Thank you for your
Thank you.
patience. Thanks, everyone. Welcome to the Winter Solstice water
Oh,
ceremony. I'm host Michael Joseph.
I'm Reya Manna, and so nice to see some friendly faces. Hi,
What's up,
Josh.
Josh? Good to see you, bro.
And we really love seeing your faces so that we can talk to you and interact with you. So if you feel that you have the capacity to put on your camera, please put on your camera.
Oh, hey, Catherine.
We're
Flame,
so,
good
hi,
to see you.
Rowena.
Yeah.
Brittany, Gladys, Adrian. Oh, we're graced by the presence of Adrian Elise. She's an amazing astrologer and does work with us in our water group with Russ Anderson and Michiko. And so we're so grateful to be here together. When we come together, we when we enter into a unified field, the power of that unified field is amplified exponentially by the number of us present. So here we are as a group amplifying the impact of our prayers, of our intentions, of our visions. And so people are writing in the chat where they're calling in
Yeah.
from.
Thank you guys for your intentions and why you're here, your inspirations, where you're calling in from. Really beautiful. Thank you, guys.
Yes, yes. And
All across
so
the country and the world. Yeah.
here we are in this space of we're having ceremony. So we'll open sacred space. Oh, hi, Heidi in Georgia. So good to see you. We'll open sacred space, and then we'll move through the sharing of our presenters, some prayers, some wisdom sharing, and all to connect us in with the consciousness of water, with water as our ally. We are in the age of Aquarius, the age of the water bearer. And this is a time where the water is very active in teaching us and showing us about group consciousness, of understanding how we can navigate through life as both the drop and the entire sea. And so we come together in this moment, in this winter solstice portal, the time and the summer solstice for those of you in the southern hemisphere, this portal of the pendulum swing. It's either swung to the greatest darkness or it's swung to the greatest light. But this is a moment where we have a portal between earth and cosmos, where our prayers are amplified, where our intentions are amplified. And then we come together with the water element, which is more than 70% of our creation, of our bodies, of our world. And so this even further amplifies the prayer field. So I invite you during the ceremony to write down your intentions, to write down your vision, both for yourself, for your individual lives, and for our world as a collective. Many are saying, and their native prophecies speaking to, that 2026 is this door slamming year. It's like out with the old. We're going to slam the door on the old, and we're going to step into this next phase of a further anchoring of new earth energy by 2027. So here we are. We have a moment of pause for the season of darkness in the northern hemisphere, which is really an access point to our inner light, to our inner illumination, a time of stillness where we can have greater access to the deep listening that comes with the water element, with our intuition, with our sense of the feminine polarity. And so we are going to drop into that space with a song, Michael and I, and it's a song called Open. And it's for the opening of sacred space. And it's also an invitation. I would love to invite you to sing along. The words are very simple. As you sing it, you can sing it to yourself. You can sing it to your little child. You can also hear it as though it's the Divine Mother singing to you. An invitation to come into a deeper opening.
So as you're hearing this, as you're reading the lyrics, as you're hearing the melody, as you're dropping deeper into our coming together, just remember how powerful we are as beings, and that everything we do, especially when we come together, affects the quantum measure exponentially. So as you're taking in all the songs that we're sharing, all the prayers that we're sharing, all the downloads and the insights that come through, is that every bit of this is affecting the quantum measure. So let's not take this for granted. This is not a light action we are here together participating in.
Yes, and we're all over the world, in Canada, in New Zealand, in Maui, in California, on the East Coast. And so wherever you are, throughout our time together, you can connect in with the spirit of place, connect in with the sacred land that is beneath your feet, in the recognition that you stand upon holy ground. And then through this point in time and space on our planet Earth, connect down further to the heart of our Mother Earth. So we're kind of illuminating our light and then connecting in with the light of our Mother Earth, and then seeing that light from the center moving out throughout the planetary grid. Ready?
All right, let's open.
Okay.
So every one of these songs were very intentionally brought forward for this particular event. And it just so happens to be that this song is called Open, and it's about opening of your heart, opening of your connection, opening of your intentions, connection to source, connection with each other, connection to water.
And we can close our eyes and take a breath, connecting in with our hearts, with the water within us. And then connecting in with this group field, with all those present, and with the waters of the world. And taking a breath into this moment, fully arriving here. Giving gratitude, connecting with your intention.
Oh yeah, it's her night. Regular night.
Can we allow inhale, holding the breath, and exhale and rub the hands together. And sending blessings to our Mother Earth. We can continue to do this throughout the event whenever you feel moved, sending blessings to the waters of the world. Also inviting us into opening into this relationship with the waters. And we are so pleased to have with us here for our event today beautiful presenters. We have Marcia Ann, Tyler Woodard, Michiko Hayashi, Erin Sojourner, David Wolfe, Dr. Gina Bria, Russ Anderson, myself, and Michael. And so we're going to move over to Marcia Ann. And Michael, would you introduce Marcia?
Sure. Great honor to have you here with us, Marcia Ann. Marcia Ann is a dear friend, dear compatriot, soul teacher, wisdom keeper, and works with me very closely in the world of showing the way so people can find their way back to themselves, the way back to people of the soil. So Marcia, you have been in this great space for so many years, and you have so much wisdom and so much experience and so much insight. So great honor to have you. Thank you for blessing us with your wisdom tonight. And you're going to lead us into a prayer, whatever comes through. Take it away.
Thank you, Marcia.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Reya. And thank you all for being here. The beautiful song that brought us in and centered into our hearts. And as we go back into that space in our hearts and we look to see our heart's journey and feel the water running through us, not separate from us, but flowing with the divinity of the clean, pure water, and send the gratitude in such a way that we find the gratitude in ourselves, that as we are the water, and that we are not just on the living land, but we are the living land carrying the waters to every corner of the earth. And the gratitude that we have for the water that is so much a part of us and we're so much a part of us. The gratitude that Mother Earth has lent us this flowing frequency, and that we have the ability to see the injustices, see what has happened to the water, and bring our frequency to the water in such a way that we leave it in the divine perfection that is intended and always has been intended. That we look into ourselves and that 70%, that we find ourselves all water, and that we see ourselves fully and be grateful fully that every part of us, including the water, including every cell, including every part of us, every density of us, is really a moving frequency. And our awareness to that brings us to the union of the divine creation, the manifestation of heaven here on earth that water is such an integral part of. Feel into your heart. Feel the flow of the biggest oceans and the greatest waters flowing through you. Feel that water going up into your mental and opening our minds, opening our reception, opening our transition, our transmutation of anything unlike the divine. Thank you, water. Thank you, each one of you, as the bringers of water, as the frequency risers of water, and the grace that you bring to today and for here on out forever. Thank you.
Marcia, thank
you,
you.
Marcia. Thank you.
And Marcia, you are so wise and such a wisdom keeper. Is there anything that you would like to share about water, about the collective consciousness at this time, about this shift of the ages that we're in, that I know you have been pioneering since, for before many of us were even born.
Well, I see everything as fluid motion. And that's why I say bring that fluid motion to the fluidity of our thinking. I was been traveling around the world. There's a lot of cookie cutter cities. Everything looks the same in any of the cities. But when you look deeper in that, I see fluidity of thought. Each city has its own personality, and the fluidity of thought. I see it like the birds when they're flying and they're going this way and that way, but they have some kind of fluidity that goes with it. And when we bring that fluidity, that purity of the water, I mean, it has such an incredible ability to take anything that's not like creation and purify it, to carry it off and precipitate it and work with it so that nothing in the fluid motion manifests anything but the divine. So, yes, everything that has brought any awareness anywhere in my life really is about that. How am I the frequency of bringing the plan for perfection?
Oh, so beautiful. Thank you. And so I think that is a big part of the teachings of the water element and working with the water. And to recognize that there is this fluidity, and there is we can make ourselves available to the greater movement of spirit. We can make ourselves available to the greater evolutionary flow of consciousness. And in that fluidity, there's an intelligence that is emergent. It's not something that we control or that's derived of ourselves alone, but that we are the outcropping of something greater.
And the more and more and more we work with it, we see those blind spots in ourselves where we have a habit maybe that has been careless with water. We have a habit that has been a thought form about water that is, if we don't take we don't we don't appreciate it. We don't have the gratitude for water that it really is. Without water, where would we be? We'd be a rock. And that because we are the elements, we are the living soil. And what makes us different than the static soil moving at a slow frequency is the water. We are the water, and we are the living movement of that water. We're movement of the land. We're nothing, we're the same molecules. We're the same particles as the land. What makes us different is the water that we carry.
It's so profound. And then when you say that, I almost have the experience of each person being like this water suit. Like we're like the intelligence of water crystallized into form.
As we'll be hearing about, we are the primordial source of the frequency of the perfection and the quality of our water.
Yeah. There is something to learn in there is how water is such an agent on our behalf,
Yes.
such an ally for our behalf, right?
And there's always something more to learn. It's like in some practices, they say, if your goal is to go east, there's always east to go. So here we are learning about the water and the awareness that we have now and the awareness of our relationship with the water. Tomorrow, out of this and the transformation that we bring as we bring ourselves into the appreciation and the fluidity, tomorrow water will be different.
And this is a powerful teaching of this new age. It's the space of emergent. It's
Yes.
no longer about this time where somebody had an experience thousands of years ago, wrote it down, and then that's what we're taught as knowledge. It's that the wisdom is emergent.
Exactly. And the unity. We are not separate. We just are having a different experience.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then that makes up the totality of creation, all of us looking at things from a different lens.
Including water.
Yes. And may we really take that forward to recognize that in our coming together and sharing ideas and finding solutions, the solutions are found by making each of us right.
Yes.
That we're each, yeah, go ahead.
And we're going to see in today, we're going to see some real visual manifestations of that. I remember years ago, there's a Hawaiian who came over to do a water ceremony with our beautiful Yuba River. And we stood in the middle of the river and we sang to the water. And at that time, in my Western mind, I thought, well, what difference does it make? What is it that, and at the same time, not only was the water different, but I was different the next day. I had expanded in my appreciation for what we have here, the beauty of the streams and the water that carry our life.
Yes. Yes. And that because our bodies are made up of water, as we'll see in Michiko Hayashi's presentation, the impact of thoughts and messages and intentions on water, because we are water, the majority of us is water, we're programmable. So with the water we drink, with the water that we put our feet in, the water that we bathe in, these are all places where messages are held, messages are carried. We can restore our own memory through working with water. We can have our bodies.
Even to the point where I walked into a bathroom the other day and the toilet hadn't stopped running. The water was still running. And I had to take the back off and fix the toilet because the water wasn't, somebody wasn't conscious of the water at that point. So, I mean, my focus and attention and what I'm willing to walk past and not be responsible for shifts for me.
And thank you for that. And that's a beautiful segue into our next presenter, Tyler Woodard, and this recognition of responsibility. And, when we can be an active participant in our world, realizing that we are fully responsible. We are given the breath of life. We are stewards of creation. And when we take this responsibility seriously, then we send a signal out to the universe. Like the universe then knows it can trust us, and then it endows us with certain awarenesses, gifts, abilities. And Tyler's going to be speaking to us about finding primary water and what even is primary water. And some of the things we've been told in our education systems are very limiting to the eternal nature of our being. They're very limited to the expansive field of possibility in which we live and breathe and thrive and create. And so thank you so much, Marcia, for bringing your presence and your energy and your wisdom. And with water, it's each drop is contributing to the whole. And so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Marcia. And what was coming to me when you were talking about being aware of the water and tending to the water, being conscious of the water that's trickling out of the toilet. I often see myself setting water free from plastic bottles. When I see plastic bottles lying around, pop it off, and I just pour it into the heart of the soil, and let it.
Even in the drip of a faucet now.
Yeah. Thank you for your wisdom and your insights. And Marcia, please feel free to hang out, contribute to other conversations. And folks, if you guys have questions, we'll do our best to answer them. Not sure how much time we'll have, but sometimes we see questions that compel us and we'll bring them in.
And Marcia, if there's a way for people to find out more about your work, if you want to pop an email address in the chat or a web address or anything that you'd like to share with people so they can find out more about you.
Well, it's really interesting how things can come full circle, because years ago when I started mining because I thought I had to change the economy from the ground up. And so I did some mining claims, and then I became certified in water reclamation. And years ago, I met Russ Anderson and went over to Clear Lake and talked about the water. And here he still is, beautifully transforming and still transcending the societal conversation for clearing the lake and clearing the water and being the wonderful uh, tenacity, the tenacity that he has, and
Yes.
the gift that he brings to our consciousness and our awareness of the water.
And Russ will be sharing with us in
I love
just
you,
a bit.
Marcia. I love you. Send it.
Oh. And this speaks to, I know, Marcia, you work with Michael and in the Sacred Honor Educational Fellowship, which teaches people self-governance, teaches people to come back to their essence as divine beings. And
Yes,
it's a big part of reclaiming who we really are. We can serve one master. We serve the truth of who we are. We don't serve a false overlay. And it's the same with our water. It's the same with our planetary system, that we want to come back to the truth.
Yeah.
exactly. And that fluidity, water teaches us as much about our spiritual fluidity as anything on the planet.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that. And I think that's
Thank you.
just a little teaser of what's to come. I feel like Michiko is going to talk even more about that. And so
Yes,
God bless you, Marcia. Thank you so much for
thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you, Marcia.
And so we shall get ready for Tyler. And Tyler is an on-field surveyor of primary water, and he educates people on this abundant supply of fresh water that exists under the earth, and speaks about the difference between a water well and a primary water well, and so much more. He's gonna just blow your mind. So
Pumped to have you here, Tyler, sharing. We met, I guess, about a year or so ago as I was calling out to the universe looking for folks that were doing primary water well digging. And little did I know there was one in my backyard. So,
Hey, how about that? And Michael, thank you for inviting me to be here. And everybody, I heard Michael Joseph's name multiple times from multiple people as a righteous brother doing the good works to um, help people empower themselves, which is, really what it's all about, being of service to others. And it's really about serving ourselves and becoming empowered ourselves and in all the ways from our articulate intelligence in navigating the legal sphere to feeding ourselves and putting water in our glass. And whatever we can do to help show our brothers and sisters the ways to, feed, clothe, nurture, and elevate and empower ourselves. These are great undertakings to do.
yeah,
And
really.
that's part, yeah.
Oh,
That's
go ahead.
part
I
of
think we have a little
what,
delay.
yeah, that's part of what brought me to the water work is just how important it is. I think that, looking back, I've made a lot of major life decisions, aware or unaware, around water and being around water, the ocean, the mountains, the snow, the rivers. And looking back, it's been guiding me the whole way. And to facilitate people getting connected to their umbilical cord of life-giving water is really great undertaking and a moment of special thanks. A couple years into this, I'm really standing on the shoulders of giants, and a huge shout out to the pioneers in this field, Nordenskild, Stephen Reese, Paul Power, and their lifetime of work, and the others who worked with them, Vern Cameron, Bill Cox, and many other voices and proponents for primary water who were educated and inspired over the years, including our esteemed Russ Anderson, who's here and has been probably talking about primary water since I was in elementary school or before. I don't know. The
well, yeah,
waters are ancient. They've always been here. Yeah.
I'm just gonna take us out and
You're
take it
gonna
away.
make me cry, Taylor. You're gonna make me.
Russ,
Okay, I'll shut myself up.
beautiful.
Water is so many things. Water is abundant. Abundance is a really popular word these days, right? And the etymology of abundance means to flow out from generously. And so it means a lot, but a lot of times people say, I want to be abundant. I want abundance. And what you're saying is, I want things to flow out from me generously. We're receiving the abundance of water. The earth is the one who is abundant with water. Water is abundant within the earth, in the earth's abundance, as it is flowing generously out of the earth, abundantly, upwelling, overflowing, springing up, out, all over, giving life to the surface of the earth through the springs and the seeps and the transpirational evaporation coming up and moisturizing things and watering from below. Water comes from below. It upwells. It recharges. It feeds us from within. Our nutrient sources are emanating from the earth, coming up and out. Water is like the truth. You can dam it, you can slow it, you can hold it back. But when it's enough, it is unstoppable. We live on Earth. We live on a water planet. Earth is a water planet. It's full of water. It makes water. The earth makes water, and it's been doing that the whole time. There's an infinite reserve of reservoirs in the earth coming up, leaking out all the time, from the tops of the highest mountains to the bottoms of the oceans and the trenches at the bottom of the ocean. The waters are a product of the earth. Mother Earth generates and produces water deep within the very bones of the earth. Much like how we make blood within our bones, Mother Earth Gaia makes water and a great many other things within hers. This has been going on the whole time the earth has existed, which is inarguably a rather long time. Depending on your scale, everybody agrees it's been a long time. There are oceans under the oceans. There are oceans under the oceans. Oceans under the oceans. There are oceans under the continents. There are oceans under the tectonic plates. There are oceans under the crust in the mantle. There is, depending on what geophysicists you talk to, between 3 and 10 times more water in the earth than there is oceans on the surface of the earth. 3/4 of the earth is covered in ocean, and about 5 times, 3 to 10 times more than that, fresh water in the earth, leaking out of the bottom of the oceans, leaking out of the tops of the mountains, and everywhere in between, feeding springs and many of the rivers, from the deserts to the jungles all over the world. Atmospheric precipitation water is such a small little sliver compared to the total water within the earth, feeding us from below. Water under the mountains, under the ground, under your feet, nearby, not too far from you. You can find water just about anywhere on Earth, just about in any geology, at not too deep a depth. There is more chlorophyll on the surface of the earth than can be accounted for with the total rain and precipitation and water runoff. There's water seeping up, feeding life from underneath. And it feeds us, and it's the reason we're alive. There's fresh water leaking out of the cracks. I want to show you something. Share. We're going to go science light because this is a prayer, but this is a little slide of upwelling out of faults, cracks in the earth, of fresh water coming up through the ocean. And if you sail out here in the Pacific Ocean, you can collect fresh water off the surface of the sea. There's so much fresh water coming up out of the sea floor from within the earth. And if that's not a showing, I'm not sure what is. There's other discoveries too. Mother Earth overflows with water. The waters overflow from within her. She is an old lady. Our mother, she's really more of our great, 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 great grandmother. And great, 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 great grandmothers have wrinkles. And she is riddled with wrinkles like a California raisin. These wrinkles are cracks, faults, fractures, and fissures where the water leaks up out from her bones through these cracks and finds their way to the surface, from the bottoms of the oceans to the tops of the mountains. A nearly infinite, ancient, eternal wellspring of pure spring water, an entire spectrum of character, quality, and chemistry. Water is incompressible. Show you this. Water is incompressible. You cannot make water small. It will resist all of your efforts of infinite force to compress it. You can compress a bar of solid iron more than you can compress water. It will squeeze and seep through your fingers, the tiniest of cracks. It will escape before it lets you make it smaller than it is. As water grows in volume, it creates an unignorable force, which moves the very crust of the earth, rising not just mountains, but very continents and tectonic plates. Volcanoes and tectonic action are, to a large degree, a product of the forces of water. Water upwells and emerges from the bones of Gaia through a crystal quartz magic of piezoelectric triboluminescence, converting silica dioxide to silica hydrates and waters within the earth, this geoelectrical chemistry that drives the charge of the earth, the production of the water, the energy of life that charges our batteries. I want to talk about some of the ideas around the consciousness of water that I learned from our friend Veda Austin. Veda sends her love. She's deep in holiday greetings with family and always appreciates things like this. And her work has been eye-opening into the consciousness of water. Water, like us, is conscious and aware. Water has memory, and it is possible to structure and program water. Yet water is so much more. Water, like us, is conscious and aware. Water is dreaming, imagining, and feeling. Water is more interested in what you are feeling than thinking. Water reads feelings. Water sees and reads potentials. It can see and show the tree and flower and fruit from the mere humble small seed. And water can see your potential. Water sees the highest full form and expression of yourself inside you. Water is not in judgment. It is for us to forgive, accept, and love ourselves. Water is artistic, intuitive, and psychic. Water expresses omnipotence. Many people with missing brain and nervous tissue filled with cerebrospinal fluid express high levels of psychic ability. The cerebrospinal fluid, the waters of our brain, may well be the physical media and conduit of psionic psychic phenomenon. And what about the clouds? Is there cloud storage happening? Is there a reason that in cartoons, thought bubbles are expressed as clouds? Water speaks. Water speaks. Guys, water speaks. Rain and surface tension-dependent drip drops speak in Morse code. There appears to be language in rain and in ice. Water expresses itself through symbolic language, symbols, which we call hydroglyphs. Who will join in learning the symbolic hydroglyph language? Who will join in learning the language of an element, an elemental such as the waters? Learning to communicate with the waters is a pathway to become closer and more intimate with ourselves. Water itself, nature, and all biological life containing and dependent on water. Fluency of communication, mastery of the hieroglyphic alphabet gives us a communication channel far more interesting than e-SETI and beaming messages into space. Though, apparently, according to the Space Bros, space is also full of water and an important part of galactic to planetary formation. We also have this whole Mother Earth home thing going on with water all around. Water gives a voice to the voiceless. Water is a doorway into consciousness. Viewing the structured communications of water brings healing. To communicate with the waters is to be healed by them. May all beings be in harmony with the water. May all beings be healed.
Thank you, Tyler. I certainly realize that we could have a 2-hour chat with you alone and just unpack so much. And I think it's well overdue with myself alone. Really love where your heart is in this. I love what you're bringing forward, and I'm find myself absolutely intrigued. Russ Anderson is the one who brought primary water to my deeper awareness, and I'm looking forward to deepening the journey with you and what you're doing. And is there anything you want to bring forward right now? We're kind of down to the last minute.
And maybe talk about the primary water wells versus
Yes.
the water wells. Like,
Yes.
can people access this water? Is it just an idea?
Yeah, as I mentioned, it's right beneath your feet and available all over, regardless of geology. Different geology has a different effect on water. Water leaves the house like clean hiking boots, and the chemical characteristics and profile of the water when you catch it at the surface is a product of the hike that it went along and what it put into solution. Water is a solvent that puts things into solution, and there's all sorts of different qualities of water, but generally this deep earth generated water is of higher quality and purity and free of atmospheric contaminants, free of forever chemicals, free of microplastics, typically negatively charged, and more healthy and more structured and more healing, akin to spring water. You don't want to drink all springs. Sometimes you want to bathe in them but not drink them. Sometimes you want to drink a tablespoon of them. Sometimes you want to drink them all the time every day because there's different qualities of them. But there is this infinite supply pushing up, moving the mountains and the continents. And tap into that. Taste it, test it, see if it's good, figure out what the best use of it is, whether it's your daily drinker or it's something medicinal. And there's plenty to go around. I posted at the very top of the chat my emails, and there's some websites that people can learn more about primary water. I wanted to go science light tonight because, we're sharing a prayer. And if people want to get more into the science, we can talk for 45 minutes or 5 hours about the science of hydrogeology, geohydrology, water science, water consciousness, water locating, geophysics, and all that good stuff.
Let's do that.
Thank you, Tyler.
Let's plan that for sure.
And tonight we're doing a weave. We're doing a weave of going into the more esoteric and spiritual, and then tapping in with its physical manifestations. And a couple things that really caught my attention when you were speaking. Water can't be compressed.
Yeah.
it's almost like the human spirit, like our spiritual nature. Truly, when you try to compress us, I mean, that's what the whole sovereignty movement's about. It's like unencumbering us. This awakening is about taking out these places where we're tempted, where the compression of our consciousness is attempted. And our eternal nature has been equated to water. Also, water is a solvent. Like, I just, sometimes life is a play on words. It solves the problems, when we can go back to source and we can come back to this place where there are the answers, and to reequilibrate. And so Tyler, thank you so much.
Yeah.
This was obviously just a scratching of the
Yes.
surface. We put Tyler's
Yep.
information in there if anyone wants to learn more. And we do these water events a few times a year, where we like to just bring our awareness to this massive intelligence that lies beneath our feet, that's within our bodies, that's in the water we drink. And as we bring our attention, we're paying attention. We're using the currency of our attention to honor the water. And that builds relationship with the unseen world. And just as Tyler was saying that he was kind of guided by water all this time and he didn't know, when we show up in honoring of the water, of the earth, or of the elementals, then they begin to guide us. They begin to show us. The synchronicities open even further. And this is such a beautiful segue into the talk with Michiko Hayashi. She's done so much work with the consciousness of water and messages of water. And so, Tyler, thank you so much.
Yep.
We
Thanks,
look
bro.
forward to
Really,
more.
really great to see you. More to come.
And Michiko, such
Hi.
an honor here. And for those of
Hi,
you who
Reya,
don't,
Michael, and everyone. Thank you
yes.
so much for having me here.
Yes,
Always
Michiko.
love to
And
see you.
for those of you who
Always love to
don't
see
know
you.
Michiko, she was Dr. Masaru Emoto's assistant. And Dr. Masaru Emoto is world renowned for his pioneering work with messages in water and how it impacted their molecular form. He has evidence of this. And then Michiko is his lineage holder. So when he passed 11 years ago now,
11 years ago.
Michiko
Yeah.
took up the torch, and now she heads the Emoto Peace Project. And so she's here to share her wisdom, and we can even see a picture of Dr. Emoto above her head.
Right there. Mhm.
So take it away, Michiko.
Thank you so much, Reya, for the beautiful introduction. And hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and sharing this beautiful, important day to honor water, to honor the Mother Earth, to send love and gratitude to waters all around the world, to water within you, and to the waters in the universe, within the earth, and every waters everywhere. Dr. Emoto always said that water is the mirror of our hearts. What does that mean? Water reflects everything. When the mirror sees this blank paper, it doesn't have anything. It shows blank, the white paper immediately. But when I show this beautiful water crystal to the mirror, it reflects this beautiful water crystal. The moment water feels our hearts, it shows what it is. And so when Dr. Emoto started to study water, he discovered that water is changing every moment, depending on how we feel, what words we say, what the collective consciousness is. And the society that we are seeing right now is that the mirror is showing the collective consciousness. So now we would like to be the keepers of waters, the beautiful keepers of the beautiful waters, beautiful keepers of the beautiful earth, beautiful nature, and beautiful universe. Everything, every beings, everythings, everywhere, within the earth, on earth, in the universe, everywhere has water. We have taken it granted, but why is water everywhere, in everything? Within us, within nature, within animals, insects, soil, plants, grasses, trees, everything. It's because God designed, gave us water because it is the most important, because it is God. So we are really a small part of God. And water is really unconditional love. Water is really patient. And it reflects, water is showing what we are, who we are. We have forgotten about it. But our spirits and souls remember that we are connected to all other people, all other waters within the earth, on earth, in the universe. So I would like to, as most of you already know about the study of Dr. Masaru Emoto, but here again, I would like to remind how water responds to some of the words or consciousness that we are always expanding, emanating. Reya, can you please share the water crystal photos?
Yes.
Today, on this day, or it's not today, but on this winter solstice, we, from the ancient time, all the priests of Shinto shrines always get together, or even at each shrines, what they have been doing from the ancient time and even now today is that all the priests offer the prayers and send much love and gratitude to gods. Here in Japan, in Shintoism, we say everything has its own god, deities. And so on this day, the winter solstice, it's by gathering the pure energy of prayer from all around the world, we facilitate the great purification and regeneration of the earth's water veins, as well as the water flowing through our own bodies. Okay, now I would like you to see how water responded to the different words. At the beginning, the very first one is how water formed at the molecule to the word do it. So it's a very strong, kind of has negative energy. The moment we say that or we feel it, the water is responding that. It's a mirror of how we feel, the emotion we have. When we are sending this, offering this prayer of peace on earth, water is really brilliantly forming at the molecular level. And we are breathing, our skin is breathing, all the plants, animals are breathing this beautiful energy. War is broken. When we say love and gratitude, when we are sending much love and gratitude, the water is making the most beautiful crystal. That means, always, Dr. Emoto always said, God designed this earth based on love and gratitude. And that is why water it forms such a beautiful and the most beautiful crystal. I love you, of course, is so beautiful. But the moment when we get angry and say, you make me sick, I kill you. we don't want to say that. We don't want to even feel it because you're hurting yourself. It's not only hurting yourself, but hurting all the waters in the earth around you, everyone. So the negative energies are really negative. Negative feelings, emotions are really negative. And water is the mirror, and it really shows what you're feeling. And it does affect your own health, the health of your family, people around you, all the animals around you, the air around you, plants and everything. So let's choose. Every moment is the choice. So let's choose to use to feel kindness, appreciation, love, respect, and harmony with yourself, with everyone around you, and most importantly, with all waters in nature. Reya, can you share some? Yes, this is the water crystal of thank you. Here in Japan, from ancient time, nowadays we have been forgetting, but our souls always remember that there are 800 names in all different reigns. That means many, many years ago, ancient times, all the ancestors always appreciated all waters and respected that much. 800 different names in each reign. So let's remember that memory, because we have that memory. All we need to do is try to remember about water, how loving water is, how important water is, how unconditional love water is giving, how patient love is. And this is the water crystal form of thank you. And I would like to show the next one. Can you show the next? This is from You Fool. So when you get angry and say something, feel you fool to someone, actually your water is forming that really negative form of crystal, the water. And the next one, please. This is when Dr. Emoto got together, when the water of the lake was polluted. Dr. Emoto got together with the priest, Buddhist priest, and offered the prayer of love and gratitude. And this was before offering the prayer to water, to the lake. And after offering the prayer of love and gratitude to the same water, that maybe next one you can show, please, Reya. The same water.
That's all that I got.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then I will show in here. I will show you. After offering the prayer, that negative crystal of this lake, changed to this beautiful crystal.
Wow.
So this is how powerful our consciousness is, our prayer is. Water always responds instantaneously in the most beautiful thoughts or emotions or consciousness that we can have is love and gratitude. H2O of love by Dr. Emoto, he interpreted H2O is 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen, but this it can be two double gratitudes to one love. And when we receive one love from someone, from God, from your love, from someone, then we receive it with double gratitudes, that then the energy of love and gratitude will start going all around you, and that the whole world will be a peaceful place with love and gratitude. So I would like to ask you to please always send much love and gratitude to your own water, to the waters around you, within the earth, on the universe. Thank you very much.
Oh, Michiko.
Thank you, Michiko.
So beautiful and so simple.
Yeah.
And
It's
and
very
I,
simple.
in the book that you were showing us pictures from, what's
Mhm.
that book called?
It's called The Message from Water, written by Dr. Emoto for children. We've been distributing this book to all children to 650 million is the target. And we have this book translated into 35 languages. And we're giving this book for free of charge to all children. So that they learn about water, the truth of water, that we are water. And the most importantly, to send much love and gratitude to, and live in love and gratitude every day.
Amazing. And what a beautiful message to teach our children of this heightened sense of responsibility. To recognize the property of water as it's like it just reflects back to us what we put out. And when we see that water's just been reflecting, we can look at the water of the world and it's like, actually, it doesn't even have to be a bad thing seeing pollution. It can just let us know, oh, wow, what have I been
We
putting
are.
inside myself? Yes.
Yeah.
And in the Bible it says, unless you be like little children, you shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. And I think it's this childlike innocence of coming back to the things that really matter. You don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and you want to be kind, and you always want to say thank you. These are basic values that in our world that we live in now, that we're in this shift of the ages, but the world we're coming out of has been a world based on a false sense of value. We've valued things that don't have intrinsic value. We've valued the dead. We value dead objects. And what's true and real is that which is living, that which is vital, that which has feeling. And, it kind of goes back to what Tyler was sharing about water. How did he say it? About it reads feelings. It's this interest in our
Right.
feelings. And we're in a time where what came before was it doesn't matter how you're feeling. It just matters how much you get done. And I think when people talk about the rise of the feminine, it's this rise of the water, the rise of the recognition of the reflection that we're getting in the mirror right now. And because there's so many of us here who gather together tonight, who truly do care about the state of our world, about the state of our hearts, that it shows that we can make a positive change. And when you start with the children, then we have a new future.
Exactly. So I'm saying that we are the keepers of beautiful waters. We are the keepers of the beautiful Mother Earth. And let's all just expand this energy of keepers.
Oh, thank you, Michiko. Thank you for that
Thank
powerful
you.
transmission.
Some people are asking where they can get the book or access the book or even learn more about Dr. Emoto's work, which
Everybody can learn from the website. If they come to the website of Emoto Peace Project, it's on
Did you put
www.emoto
it in the
Peace
chat?
Project. I think
Yeah.
I wrote okay, I can write it again.
www.emoto. I can write it too.
Okay.
peaceproject.net.
Project.net. .net.
Okay.
It's at the very top of the chat. Just scroll all the way up.
Okay.
Also,
It's at the
they
bottom.
can download this book for free of charge, and if they want the printed books, they can contact me through this website. Then I will receive all the emails, and I can send the books.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Michiko.
much.
Thank you for carrying the flame, Dr. Emoto's work.
Thank you,
Was
my honor.
very, very profound to me when I was first introduced to it in the 2001, somewhere in that timeline. Profoundly affected my awareness, and it is very simple. What we think, what we
Hmm.
feel affects everything around us, and it's
Yeah.
measured in water in such a profound way. And that's a simple message to carry on.
Every moment is the choice. We're choosing
Yes,
even emotions.
yes,
We're choosing actions every moment. So just let's try to make we can try to make the habit of choosing positive
yes,
kindness.
yes.
Okay. Thank
Good
you.
consciousness
And Michiko,
awareness. Thank
no
you.
accident that you are the one to carry on Dr. Emoto's
No.
work,
Yeah.
because also there's an evolution of consciousness, and you have a kindness, you have a purity.
Hmm.
Spirit speaks to you and through you, and
Yes.
it's your heart. You said that water knows our hearts, and you are
Hmm.
all heart. So thank you
Oh,
so
thank
much
you.
for the nuances that you're adding to Dr. Emoto's work, and thank you for
Yes.
taking it further.
Yes. Beautiful torch
And I'd
bearer.
like to say thank you and honor Dr. Moto. He's with us today here. So
Thank you.
thank
Yes,
you.
indeed.
Blessings. Thank you, Michiko.
Thanks, Michiko.
Thank you very much.
And so thank you everyone just checking in. Let's take a big breath together.
Yeah, maybe maybe
Let out
stand
a
up and move
sigh.
the
You
body a
could
little
do a
bit.
stretch. So, we're activating the water in our own body through movement. And next, we have Erin Sojourner, and she is an advocate for living water and a leader in regenerative ecosystems. She has expertise in fostering nutrient-dense food systems and vibrant soil health. And she works with delivering pure hydrogen-infused, micronutrient-rich water to crops, to ecosystems. And this is my first time meeting Erin. I'm very excited about all she has to share. And I am looking for you. There you are, so I can bring you on.
Thank you,
Hey,
Reya. Hey, thank you, Michael. So
hi,
good.
Erin.
I'm hoping that I can have about 20 minutes because I just want to take a journey with everyone today. And I'm going to talk. I've spent most of the day today just drinking water and tea and fluids so that I could get myself in this juicy state to be with all of these lovely people. I'm so honored to be able to share this time with Emoto's work. Thank you for bringing that forward. Definitely a deep inspiration for me. Yeah, so let me get my light off my face there. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
So, maybe try to condense it a little bit from 20 if you can, because
Okay.
we're running a little bit over if possible, but also
Already.
just via
Okay.
expression. Thanks. Thank you for getting
Okay.
me.
Beautiful. So I moved to the mountains of Western North Carolina in 1999, and that was my deep conscious journey to be around springs. The first land that I landed on had a neighboring spring that I would go down a hill with buckets of water. And it was just a beautiful exercise to not have pipes, to not have running water on this raw land, and to really connect me to the rhythm of what our ancestors may have felt like. My personal journey, like you mentioned, took me through regenerative agriculture. It was the only place that I could work in the world at the time to find spiritual lubrication, is what I like to say, for all of our wonderful humans on the planet through nutrient density, for honoring soil health, and, all those good things. It also was very helpful that I started a farm. So by the time I was 25, I was farming and then I eventually went into making markets for other regenerative farmers. But on this 10-acre farm that I had, I was surrounded by national forest, and this land had a sacred spring on it. And I felt so blessed. My greenhouses, my home received all this living water unadulterated. And I think that's where my barometer for hydration really established in my body. Uh, 5 years later, I moved from my farm and I went to Asheville. I was on city water, so first thing I did was get a whole house filtration system, but I still drove 3.5 hours round trip with my kids to a spring that I visited pretty much every week to make sure that we were drinking amazing living water. So 26 years now, I can say I have been drinking structured water. And it's been a passion of mine for a long time. But then I found Spring Aqua. Actually, it found me. And after 2 years of drinking Spring Aqua water, I did an agricultural consultation with them for a device, and I decided to work with them full time. So now I work for the water full time. So yeah, regenerative agriculture, personal ritual with water, and I'm so honored to be here with everyone right now, restoring water on planet Earth and in our very consciousness. So tonight, we are returning to the source of life through this lens of water. Tonight, we gather in honor of the winter solstice. This is the longest night, the turning point, the moment of stillness before light returns. And what's beautiful is water knows this rhythm intimately. In winter, water will go underground. It becomes still and it gathers itself in darkness, and then it emerges from springs into the light, bubbling up. So tonight, I just desire to share maybe some practical things with you. First, a little history lesson, and we're going to start with what we lost and what we're remembering about our relationship with water. And the story is a parallel loss for modern humanity. In the span of just 1 century, our species has industrialized both our soil and our water, all at the same time. And when you look at the history, for the same reasons. The first was World War I, gave us synthetic nitrogen fertilizers, and that was born from explosives manufacturing. World War II gave us synthetic pesticides. That was born, sadly, from nerve gas research. And one of my great heroes, this led Steiner to focus on agriculture, Rudolf Steiner, and why biodynamic farming, which was a very long time of my life, was born. This is also what gave rise to organic farming. So historically, this was an early period of industrialization, and people just really needed a light to return that to the health that can be produced through farming, naturally and regeneratively. And now the parallel is during these same decades, our species then chlorinated water. We fluoridated it. We dammed our rivers into reservoirs. We pushed water first through lead pipes. Thank goodness most of those are gone. And then through millions of miles of modern pipes. So now think of water. It's in straight lines. It's been chemicalized. It's under pressure. And this industrialization of water has really disconnected most people from the source of water. And I think about this a lot. Many people spend their whole lifetime not seeing or connecting to where their water comes from. These shifts severed the connection between people and living water sources. And at the exact same time, we severed the connection between people and living soil. The circadian rhythms, the alchemy of life-giving properties became hidden, I would say, to our very eyes and to our bodies. But the good news is it's in our lineage. Our ancestors, even our great-grandparents, so not that long ago, knew where their water came from. They walked to it. Maybe they carried it. I'm sure many of them had gratitude for it because springs were sacred sites. They were places of pilgrimage and healing across every culture on earth. And yes, in 1 century, we replaced the pilgrimage with the pipe. But here is what thrills me the most. our people are waking up. Look at all these people here tonight. I'm so excited. And it's not just intuitively, though that matters. It's the language of science, I find, is finally catching up to what traditional cultures have always known. We now have, plenty of peer-reviewed research showing that structured vortex living water improves soil microbiology by more than 20%. It can double or triple crop yields while using 25 to 35% less water. We have metrics now, metrics that show massive improvement for all facets of life when water that is alive is utilized. We have this data, and it is inspiring us into natural ways that can improve nutrient density, soil health, and definitely can improve hydration. So we have this early framework, right, that we can measure now what our ancestors felt. And perhaps you have already felt it in the juiciness of deep hydration and maybe the nourishment of farm fresh foods, amplifying your very life force. And I would say that this is the invisible becoming visible. So tonight, this is about remembering. Biomimicry is still a modern answer, Goethean observation, copying nature in all of her perfection and returning to the source. I actually brought something that I wanted to show you. So these are egg vessels, a simple egg shape, right? The egg form, it's not just decorative, it's actually functional. I have a few of them. Water stored in an egg shape naturally circulates in a gentle vortex. So this is one way you can honor water by staying fresh and alive, is by the containers that you put water in. And Victor Schauberger, who, he was an Austrian forester. He spent his life studying water in nature. And what he observed is that water moves in spirals, never straight lines. The egg shape that many life forms, spring forward from mimics this. Ancient cultures also stored water, wine, and olive oil in egg-shaped amphora. They call them amphora for thousands of years. And they simply just knew something that perhaps we forgot. So with this primordial egg shape in mind, I just would like to offer a solstice water resolution. And I have a couple little notes over here that I thought of today. I really would like to offer a spectrum of practical things that we can do, and even more challenging ones, so that we can begin or we can actually deepen our relationship with water. And I ask you to meet yourself where you are and choose as many that call out to you. So first, we can choose daily reverence, right? This is free, this is immediate. Simply pause before drinking, a moment of gratitude. The word, like we saw, thanks, or the 3 words, I receive you, to receive, can be a powerful shift at a cellular level. And Emoto and even Veda Austin, you can see now the visuals of how water responds to intention. Even if we don't fully understand the mechanism, the practice can shift us and our connection to water. Another thing you can do is notice where your water came from. Even if it's tap water, you can trace it back and you can think, what reservoir does this come from? Maybe there's rivers nearby. What watershed are you a part of? Kind of like how Tyler was showing the earth. Become familiar with the terroir of water in your area, as this is the life-giving source. Second, we can make conscious choices. So like simple shifts, choosing glass over plastic. Glass actually, water and glass tastes different. It stays cleaner. It doesn't leach. Even glass bottles with words or sacred geometry on it is invigorating to water. And I have this one. You can drink room temperature water instead of ice cold. This is also an ancient wisdom from the Ayurvedic to traditional Chinese medicine and many cultures that advise against shocking our systems with ice water, especially with meals. So room temperature, 65 to 70 degrees, is gentler on digestion and can also absorb better. Now, I do want to make mention that we have a lot of water nerds here. So that's different from what Schauberger observed in nature. So he found in his water research that water reaches its maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius, which is about 39 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's just above freezing. And that is the physics of why ice floats, why cold water behaves the way it does underground. And going back to these levitational forces, this is how water stays alive in rivers and aquifers, not stagnant, but moving and bubbling. But it's not necessarily what temperature you would like to drink your water out. And I know we're going to have Gina on later, and I wanted to give a shout out to Gina, Bria, and the book that she co-authored called Quench. I highly recommend it. In it, you can learn about indigenous native desert dwellers, and you can learn that you can eat your water. So hydration comes from water-rich foods like cucumbers, celery, chia seeds, think fibrous soups, root soups and fresh fruits. That provides a lot of structured water to your cells because everything in nature is structured. Also, as we said earlier, moving your body helps with cellular hydration, and maybe Gina will share more on this later. But one of my solstice tips, buy the book, which can give you a lot of very practical applications from flying on planes to everything on how to stay hydrated. Another one is take a pilgrimage, have a water adventure, visit a spring if you haven't before. I've always told people findaspring.com is a wonderful resource. I've used it for over a decade, and you can make it a quest. Bring glass jars, you taste the difference, quietly connect to this mature, living water, and listen for its elder wisdom. You can also sit with moving water, a creek, a river, the ocean. You can watch how it spirals. You can feel the negative ions on your skin. This is great at a waterfall. And you can just let it wash you. Or perhaps you feel maybe collecting rainwater might help. If you do that ceremonially, you can have a beautiful bowl like this during a storm, and then take that water and water a plant with it, or with reverence, maybe wash your loved one's feet. So this is all about completing a cycle. You can find the sacred storage, ceramic, glass, or copper vessels. The egg shapes are wonderful. Just think of letting your water breathe, keep it cool and dark, like underground, waiting to emerge. And then more deeper ones for some folks, a resolution may be transforming your home's drinking water quality. I mean, from drinking to cooking, bathing, brushing teeth. There are so many great options for upgrading the waters of your home through filtrations. If you get inquisitive, you can go down a rabbit hole and do some research. As we mentioned, the company I landed on and work with now is called Spring Aqua. And what was really important for me is that the technology was born through biomimicry. This matches my commitment to regenerative agriculture as well. So, it's important to clean, get a filter or be the filter. But we clean through non-electrical nanofiltration. It removes the microplastics, contaminants like chlorine, pharmaceuticals, pesticides. We have all three methods that the EPA says get the forever chemicals out, things that have shown up in our water that we really do not desire to drink. Clean water is wonderful, but it's also important to make sure it's structured and remineralized, because that's what makes it 2 to 3 times more hydrating. When it's alive and coherent and easily absorbed by our bodies. So I always recommend a spring first, but Spring Aqua is my choice because it's like an ecosystem in a box and it mimics nature. Did you have to say something? Are we at 15?
We're a little over, but so what you're sharing, can we do you have a website or anything that we
Yeah.
can put into the link into the chat
Yeah.
now?
Yep, you can go to springaqua.com. There's educational videos. Everything is customized for the local water quality, so you can just go through that process and learn as much as you would like about the system.
Hmm.
Cool.
And thank you so much. What I'm getting, thank you for your work and for your dedication to water. But what I'm also getting is that it's the quality of yourself as a human being
Mhm.
that is contributing to everything you do. And I think that's a big teaching of the water. It's our beingness. It's how we show up. It's showing up with intention. It's taking those sacred pauses. And, people often ask, well, how can who am I to make a big change or to make an impact? But just to show up with so much devotion and to walk softly on the earth creates such an impact. So thank you. You can feel the beauty with which you live your life. And just thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for showing up and participating and being a supportive behind the scenes as well. More to come.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Erin.
And
So, is there anything you want to say, or we just want...
well, now we have David Wolfe. Oh, look at all these hearts pouring in.
Yeah, that was...
And David Wolfe has an entourage. I think there might be like some dance moves. Are these your backup dancers?
These are our backup dancers, and they're ready to do a water dance. You guys ready?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, let's take it away. Here we go.
We see that.
Great.
Go.
This is great.
Woo!
Water vortex.
It doesn't have to
Water
be long.
vortex in action. By
Doesn't have to be long to be effective.
Best ever. Thank you, ladies.
What a great way to start. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Great to see everybody. That was great to see Erin Sojourner. By the way, if I get cut off for any reason, I've had weird internet. Like every hour, it can go out for like 1 second or 2 minutes, or that could happen. If that happens, Erin and Gina, Bria, you guys jump in on my behalf. How's that sound? Okay, deal, done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Okay,
sounds
so
great. We'll track it. We know you've been having some issues, and great to see you, brother. Thanks for always leaning in and expressing your genius. I know you are such a water follower and such a follower of all things natural, especially tending to people's bodies. And a lot of the brilliant folks that have been brought forward, you've been tracking them for many, many years. Steiner, Schossberger, on and on and on. So you always have so much to share. I'm not sure what's going to channel through you tonight, but I always look forward to it.
right on. Thanks so much, and thanks for It's just so fun, and I'm going to see you guys very shortly. I'll see you on Sunday night. It looks like. So if you're in the Grass Valley area, we will be up there, and we'll be having the best day ever with these two folks, and it's going to be the best pre-Christmas run up of all time. At any rate, we've got a lot to cover in a short period of time. I just got back from Greece. And as you know, I've been going there and investigating my friend's orchards, which are, he was like, it's like 500-year-old orchards. And I'm like, no, dude, these are like 1,000-year-old trees here. So I've been spending, like I spent last week in a 1,000-year-old food forest. I mean, whoa. One of the most amazing things ever. And that particular area of Greece is considered the birthplace of the olive by many researchers in that field. And there's about 20 square kilometers there where the water's it's primary water because it's very volcanic and there's a lot of water coming out of the ground. So if you kind of put that together, you've got a ton of water coming out of the ground, lots of spring activity everywhere. And then you've got the sunny, dry, beautiful Mediterranean climate of Greece. That combination is like the magic that we're all looking for. It's like the ideal human environment, and I think lends itself to the best possibility of longevity, especially with the great food of the olives and actually I need to get the girls to go get the olives. I've got something to show you guys. It's absolutely crazy. It's one of those things. It's just wow, like something that could be right in your face all your life and no one sees it. And that's where I think the great breakthroughs are always happening, is the stuff that's completely obvious, and it's so obvious we're missing it. But anyway, these great olive trees, the great olive oil, the great olives from these areas, and the great spring water that comes from these areas are just truly profound. I was on the 8th day of a water fast. We've got Dr. Aaliyah on this call actually, and she chimed in one time on Instagram. She's like, "Are you like always doing a water fast?" Like, Pretty much, yeah. I'm trying to get my days in, and I was on the eighth day of this water fast, and I was in this hot springs in the morning. And so that was the first spring of the day. That particular day, we found 12 springs in one day. It's very important that you understand. I think that's one of the main things I want to communicate, that you have instincts about this. You have intuition about where the springs are, and you can find them. And you have a knowledge that's built into you as a human being of where those springs are and how to access them. I am here as an emissary of findaspring.org, which is a free website that shows where you can get spring water all over the world. And you can put springs on there too if you want to. If you've got a great spring in your neighborhood and you want to add that spring into the encyclopedia of springs that's on that website, please do it. I've been working with that website in some form or another for years. I mean, probably 20 years, and I've been a part of it all that time. So it's just, my friends run it. I'm not the owner of it or anything, but it's definitely a resource. And I love the people behind it, and it's a resource for you. Findaspring.org. Findaspring.com works as well. And so I've just been in touch. They were just in touch with my headquarters tonight, actually, those guys at Find a Spring. I was like, hey, tell them I'm on this call. Like this, I'm going to be out there promoting this great website. It's a great resource for you out there. We heard from Tyler about this whole thing about the different types of springs. And, there's like this primary water. Well, there's other ones too, which is there's the springs that are created by the forest ecosystem itself. I call those forest springs. And then there's seepage springs. So in the cold water spring area, I got inspired about 30 years ago doing a fast, actually, out in the it was in the Nevada desert, right below, what's the big dam there? Hoover Dam. And there's some great hot springs right there. That was a wild night. And like on the fourth day of this water fast, I end up, crawling back to my friend's house, and he had a Victor Schauberger book. And that book got me going on as a spring water hunter. Since that time, I've hunted somewhere around 400 cold springs all over the world. That particular day in Greece, where I started out in the hot springs, was my all-time record. We found 12 springs in one day. 12 springs. I was driving out in the mountains. I'm like, that's a spring over there. Pull over. We pull over. This thing's gushing. I mean, this wasn't like some little drip, drip. There was nothing like that. Thing's full speed ahead, like coming out of the ground with like force. And then I was like, let me go check this area out. I sneak behind the spring. There's a whole valley of horsetail, like Greek equisetum. You couldn't imagine something as great as that for your bones, skin, hair, nails. The silica, the great silica plant, with your spring water tea. Geez, what a combination. What an amazing thing. That particular day, a dozen springs in one day. That's my all-time record. We have instincts about this, right? The springs are going to come out where they're away from the sun. The sun pushes the water back into the earth. That's a thing I learned from Victor Schauberger. What a mastermind. My God, thank God for him. Thank God for the great book, Callum Coates's Living Energies, which are the interpretations in the English language of Victor Schauberger's research. Thank God for the Nature Technology series that Callum Coates put out, those 4 books. I mean, really catastrophically best ever kind of stuff. Life-changing. On Sunday, actually, right before I get to see Reya and Michael Joseph, I will be stopping over at a friend's house. We've been making spiral pipes for years. One day he had an idea. It was just genius. So my friend Chris, he's like, why don't we just 3D print an insert and just put it right into the pipe? And I was like, God, oh my God, it's so obvious. Everything's so obvious. You don't need to crimp these pipes. We're crimping like, copper pipes, melting them, getting them soft and like bending them. He's just like, let's just put an insert right into the pipe with that impels the spiral. And it's like, of course. And so we've been making those. And if you ever see me or around me, I always have extras of those. Love handing those out. They can fit in almost any like imperial, not metric, but imperial size. But I will make a few metric ones actually this weekend actually. So I might have those around too. But that'll fit into your pipes and wherever you are in the world. It's a lot of fun. It's not a thing I've ever sold, but it's just a thing that I'm always have with me, and we make lots of them. We just give them away. Anyway, this thing about water is really incredible because you have an instinct that tells you that the sun pushes the water in, and that's why in deserts the water's down because there's not enough cover over the earth to allow the water to come up. Like a forest, the water's coming up. The whole thing of a forest, the whole metaphor of a spring is the tree itself, right? The stomata stomata on the leaves, the underside of the leaf, hidden from the sun, underside of the leaf. Think about it. Think about the metaphor, is protecting itself from the sun so it can open. And that's where the inner waters meet the outer gases. What a key insight that is. Where the inner waters of the earth meet the outer gases, that's the spring, that's the stomata, that's the alveoli of your lungs. They're metaphors of each other. And the tree itself is a metaphor of the mountain and the springs and everything else that's going on in the mountains. And when the cover of the forest is there, the water comes up. It will come up out of the ground. That's why we have this idea of a forest spring. Even with no primary water available, the forest will create the spring environment and will just metaphorically with the trees, all those trees will bring that water up by the cover so it pushes the sun away and allows the water to matriculate on up. This primary water concept is also very interesting, and I think Tyler brought it up at least once, but let's bring it up again. That basically the whole New World Order system, whatever whatever Kali Yuga, whatever that is, it's all based on a scarcity model. It's nothing but like scarcity, scarce, all our lives, everything's scarce. We're going to run out of this. This is going to disappear. We're going to get rid of that. Oh my God, this is going to run away. It's just the biggest pile of garbage of all time. We're living in a simulation. There's unlimited amounts of primary water. There's unlimited amounts of oil. I lived in the house of a petroleum engineer for years. And so I said, what creates the oil? Like, did the oil wells fill up? And he said, yes. I said, why? And he's like, well, because of the source rock. I was like, what do you mean the source rock? You mean the rock that makes the oil? And he's like, yes, like the rock that makes the water, which granite makes water. I've been in the Canadian Shield Wilderness for 20 plus years. I know now, it's an instinct. I've just been out there. I know that when I find the rock that is exactly 50% quartz, it'll have striations. And so it's half granite, half quartz. Whenever I find that rock, the water's right there. It's always right there. It's an instinct. I know it. It's going to be wet. There's going to be water there because that rock creates the water. It's creating the water on the spot. We're never going to run out of water. This whole thing of we're scarce. It's so bad. It's like, really? Like they're still trying to run with that. And, it's just like, that's why you got to turn off the television and get into nature, even turn off the screens and get into nature and just start observing. And eventually it becomes an instinct. You start to go, oh, okay, if I hunt around in the northern hemisphere on the north side of mountains where the shade is, there's going to be more likely water's going to come up. But on the south side where the sun's hitting, it's going to be harder for that water to come up because the sun's pushing the water down. The moon's pulling the water up and the sun's pushing it down. Very interesting, these things. And in the winter, we're coming into that moment right now where it's, the sun is basically low in the sky and the moon is coming higher into the sky. So it's going to be a different kind of quality spring water. In fact, what's interesting about cold springs, three that I have identified so far on this call, there's always hot springs, of course. Those are coming up through pressure. That's a different phenomenon. But the cold springs, we have seepage spring, forest spring, and primary water spring. Those things will actually be like hot springs when it's minus 40 outside. Like at my house in Ontario, Canada, it's minus 40 in the winter. That means that spring that's coming out at like 7 degrees centigrade is a hot springs compared. And it comes out, interestingly, warmer. That water's warmer in the winter than it is in the summer by about 2 degrees. That centigrade. That's a lot. That's a significant difference. What's going on there? What's happening there? Now, I want to bring up an anomaly that Victor Schauberger really inspired in me that I've observed now. I've hunted at least 400 springs, wild springs all over the world, primarily in North America, but many other places like Greece, all over Europe, all over Australia, all over Asia, all over even Africa, even South Africa, even South America, Central America, all over the place. This is the anomaly. The water is, when it comes up, cannot be coming up through pressure because the ground temperature around the spring is typically warmer than the spring water is. The spring water is coming up colder than the ground temperature. That. Come on, right there. Immediately you should go, oh man, we were just sold a bunch of BS. The whole scientism stuff, it's so bad. It's like, stop. Like, really, they're really trying to, like, I think, I was, thank God for the COVID insanity because that got people going, oh, the science, trust the science. Like, that's when people started going, this is a religion. They're trying to push some crappy religion. That's a scientism. But anybody can observe at the source of springs. It's like, whoa, the water's coming out colder than the ground temperature is. Now, in a hot springs, the water's going to come out hotter than the ground temperature. That makes sense. It's pressure, magma, whatever heat. Okay, that makes sense. But this one doesn't make sense to the way we were taught about physics and science. So in my estimation, what's actually happening is the hydrogen's being pulled up because the hydrogen wants to be sucked up into the sun. And suction is the opposite of pressure and causes cooling. And so this is the great insight of Victor Schauberger, is that its implosion is a cooling phenomenon, and explosion is a heating phenomenon. And we're on the wrong type of technology, which is we're taking stuff that's been formed and we're burning it up, and we're using the pressure to create energy. And what Victor Schauberger said is like, we got to completely rethink this. Like, how did the energy get into that wood in the first place? How did the energy get into the coal in the first place? How does the energy get into things in the first place? Which is through the implosion, right? So what's happening with a tree is like, you go under a tree, is it hot or is it friction moving up and down that water up that tree? No way. It's cooler. Everybody knows that. Nobody's that silly, right? You go under a tree, it's cool. Right? It can be significantly cool. It can be 8 degrees Fahrenheit difference from being out in the heat in the sun. You go under a tree, it's 8 degrees sometimes Fahrenheit cooler under that tree. It's an implosion. It's a phenomenon. When you're next to the implosionary phenomenon, it's something you feel. And you're like, whoa. Now, this is something that turned me on to the jet fuel hoax, by the way. Just I want to throw that out there, is being next to those twin jet engines in the back of a plane one time, coming out of the peyote deserts of Mexico. And I was still kind of a little bit, impacted by, say, those sacred medicines out there. And I'm sitting right next to a jet engine in the back of this aircraft. And I was like, no, it's not. There's no explosion going on. This is an implosion device. The jet engine's an implosion device. Then I started digging into it. It's run by 6 different corporations worldwide: Rolls-Royce, Boeing. There's the one in Russia, Airbus, Lockheed Martin. You do the research on it, you'll find out what I'm talking about. And they control the secret. And then I've became very good friends with Jörg Schauberger, Victor Schauberger's grandson. He told me that Airbus still consults with his grandfather's original notes, and had created technology recently based on Victor Schauberger's technology, and they wouldn't let me photograph it. He's like, you can look at it, you cannot photograph it, and you can't put it up on the internet. So I got to see it, and I was like, oh, look at that. Very interesting. Why would they care about Victor Schauberger's stuff? I mean, isn't this an explosion motor that's exploding things in a jet and explosions up there? None of that's happening. There's no way the jet fuel that they're telling you is on an aircraft can be on that aircraft. Anybody can figure that math out in 5 minutes. I used to film it. I'd walk right out of the aircraft and sit there and film them fill up aircraft. Even 747s never got past 15 minutes to fill the aircraft up. Just throwing that out there. Anyway, back to our story. Meanwhile, back in our story, it's so amazing when you start to look at the water and you go, okay, this spring, for example, in my Hawaii farm, we have a seepage spring in the front yard that comes out, basically after the rainy season. It starts to bleed out of the mountain. And so the spring runs sometimes for 6 months, but doesn't run through the summer because it dries up, because it's seeping out of a saturated mountain. That's what I mean by a seepage spring. That's kind of how people probably think that springs are, maybe. But then there's the idea of the forest spring, that the forest, through the wicking effect, pulls the water up the mountain. So let's say everything was cleaned off by a glacier and then things warmed up. I'm just thinking of the Canadian environment on the Canadian Shield granite, which creates the best water in the world, in my opinion, especially when it's 50% quartz, if you remember that little hint. That water is incredible. How does the water then move up the hill and suddenly is coming out the top of the hill, which it does next to my house? And the answer is when the forest moves up the hill step by step and it gets reforested, it brings the soil and the wicking effect and also the implosionary phenomenon of the tree itself, which is moving through suction, huge amounts of water up the tree without friction, just like a spring does, and eventually it'll pull the water right up to the top of the hill, closest to the sun. That's why the springs come out at the top of the mountain, where the hydrogen finally goes, we're pretty close now, and it's like, let's fall into the sun, and that's the moment where the spring pops out as a little rivulet and very quickly multiplies, the water multiplication effect that anybody can observe in most springs, where suddenly it's like, whoa, that was just a little rivulet of water coming out. Now it's suddenly a whole creek that's going on. Tyler mentioned that the amount of water in rivers, creeks, streams, springs, and just in freshwater environments all over the world does not equal, not even close, the amount of water that's coming down through precipitation. And it's like not even 50%. So there's water being created also in the environment of the earth. This brings me up to an important thing that I wanted to bring up about dry fasting, because there's been a lot of interesting research on dry fasting. I'm a faster, I believe in the power of fasting, but the dry fasters and the breatharians have been telling us for a lot of years that you produce your own water. You do. And anybody who's done long dry fasting knows that. You start to realize, oh, I'm producing my own water. Now, dry fasting is not good for somebody who's not healthy. You have to build yourself up to it. You have to develop an appropriate moment to dig into the dry fasting in your healing journey. But when you're properly hydrated for long periods of time and you have experience with fasting, and you start to go, let's figure out the dry fasting. And the great discovery is that the water that you produce in your own body is DDW water. It's deuterium depleted water. It's the right kind of water that you create out of nothing. By the way, this is one of the really important themes, I think, of this call. And I think one of the most important themes about water, and is one of the most important things of all time, which is this idea that something comes from nothing. The whole system, whatever this beast system is, whatever that is, it's hard to even comprehend it at this point, is absolutely weaponized against the idea that something must come from something else, right? Or it's weaponized to drive that into your consciousness, or weaponized to stop you from looking into this idea that something can come from nothing. That's the way of saying it. So I'm here to say something, which is really important. And again, the dry fasters are with me on this. The breatharians are with me on this. The fasters are with me on this. And the water researchers are with me on this. Pretty much anybody's with me on this once you start looking closely. Something comes from nothing all the time. That's the whole thing. Lavoisier's law was just a pile of crap. It was just some made up crap by somebody, some scientism crap. Like, something comes from nothing is the reality of this dimension that we're in. And as soon as you open that up, that busts open every program. It's like a wrecking ball on every program, right? This whole, no. Something has to come from something else. Who said who? What do you mean? Who said that? And who are they? And where'd they come from? And look, what was their story? It's all made up, just completely made up. And as soon as you realize that, like, whoa, water can come from nothing, that I can create the water within myself, and it's the right kind of water, and that the human being is a noble organism that is a water creator, that means that you can go. I had a guy, breatharian. This is one of those things you can't believe or comprehend until the guy's living in your house. Then you go, Jesus Christ, like, what is this? Like, a breatharian lived in my house, never drank, never ate, never drank or ate. I'm with the phenomena. You can feel the phenomenon going on. I'm getting chills all over my body, because you just go, whoa, this is crazy. This is wrecking my whole beliefs about reality. But luckily, it had been already devastated by that point anyway. So I was open to the possibility that this is what's going on. And then, week after week after week after trip, after plane flights, after this and that, you're like, the guy hasn't drank water and he hasn't eaten anything. And we're going to the gym every day. It's just like, what the heck? This is just how insane the whole situation is. Now, I get when I say that, we're Westerners. We're screwed up. I get that. We watch the Brady Bunch. We watch Gilligan's Island. You cannot understand that phenomenon until you're around it. When you're around it, it's self-evident. It's just, you go, oh, it's self-evident. But as a Westerner, we're screwed up in that regard. So, seek out the masters and they will teach you. And I have to say that Vedic concept is a very good one. Very good one. When you seek out the masters and you're like, whoa, I'm getting the teaching now. There it is. It's like you're being driven in. You get to see that you create your own water. You create your own food, that within you is an ecosystem that's infinitely complex and infinitely nourishing. And when you need water, your body just creates it. As long as nothing's disturbing it from the outside and everything's cleaned out. So when somebody dies of starvation, for example, they're drowning in their own waste. That's what's going on there. Once everything's cleaned out and the water and salt, and by the way, that was a key teaching I got from a breatharian, it's water and salt. So when I fast, it's water and salt, water and sea 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 salt. Once you do that and you do that consistently, you start going, I don't actually need any, after a while, like a week of fasting, 2 weeks of fasting, I don't need anything from the outside at all. I don't even need water. I don't even want to put water in my body because it's screwing up the balance of the perfect ecosystem that is the human being, the noble organism that is the human being. And this is why, really noble essence kind of plants like the redwood tree, for example, can survive even in Southern California without really enough water. It's because they're creating the water, or they're capturing the water out of the atmosphere and they're dripping it onto themselves. And they basically like a breatharian. I have extensive experience hunting down all the redwood trees in San Diego, California, all the way into Los Angeles, all the way up the coast, and there's many redwoods that are, even in this neighborhood here in Laguna Beach, that are growing in people's yards that are really, no one ever waters it. It's not watered. It's just part of the ecosystem. Where's the water coming from? Like, this is a giant tree. These things will live 1,000 years, 2,000 years. What's happening here? They create their own water because they're a perfect organism. And most human beings are right in that. If you just get off the stuff, whatever that, junk food or whatever that is, or chemicals or whatever, and you just clean the environment inside, then eventually your body goes, oh yeah, well, we got it sorted out. Now, these three categories, the primary water, I want to give you a little insight here. And I was talking to Tyler about this right before the call, is that, see, there's an infinite amount of water that's underneath of everything, right? That's in the plutonic rock, which is otherwise known as the Canadian Shield, which is otherwise known as granite. That's always underneath, by the way, all the oil deposits. So if you go down in Texas, for example, you go through the limestone, let's say 21,000 feet, 28,000 feet, eventually you hit the oil deposit, and then you go all the way through that, and eventually then you hit the plutonic rock, which is that's the granite. And that granite is basically filled with water and creates water. And so that's the primary water and probably all of that's sitting and floating on top of a giant ocean of primary water that's underneath everything. Over the years, I'm, pointing out, I just do everything I can, just point this out to people. Observations, like when you're in St. Catharines, looking across at Toronto, for example. So you're in Canada, you're in St. Catharines, you're looking across at Toronto, it's 40 miles from your eye. You can see the top of the Rogers Center with your eye. You can see it with your phone too, and you can zoom in, you can see it. 40 miles should be obscured by 730 feet of curvature. The top of the Rogers Center is 315 feet. You can see it with your eye. That proves to you conclusively that the story they told you about the earth is incorrect. You see it. It's obvious. With your eye, you can tell it's that way. And there's many observations like that. What this is bringing us back to is that, this is like Turtle Island. We're all floating in a big pond. We're not floating around in space, spinning around, 1,000,000 miles an hour, 66,600 miles per hour. That makes no sense. Come on. The water would be spun off. It's so bad and so silly. And it's just, when people want to argue it, it's like, man, just go tonight, look at any body of water, fire a laser over any body of water, which my friends and I have done for well over a decade now. It's all flat. Every lake on Earth is flat. I'm going to Kauai in a few weeks. Kauai, I can see Oahu from Ku'umo'o Road. I'm up 200 feet. I can see all of Oahu, including the back mountain range, which is 90 miles away from my eye. Come on, let's not be silly here. Let's wake up, snap out of the programming and start seeing what's really going on here. So we're basically in a big pool and puddle of water and we're always, what's at the edges of this, or the fringes of the simulation. Frozen water, actually, is what's the barrier at the fringes of the simulation. Very interesting things to look into. And in this pond is an infinite amount of resources. It's an infinite amount of resources. Paul Zane Pilzer was one of my favorite economists from back in the day. He had this wonderful phrase, and he said, do you believe in scarcity? And he said, no, because just all you have to do is have an insight or a technology, and what was once scarce suddenly becomes abundant. Or what was once scarce is something you don't no longer need because we just shifted to this resource over here. So it's really just a perspective that creates infinite abundance. So those are my thoughts tonight.
Well, just to let you know, the chat is kind of blowing up. People are like, "This is the best call ever. This is straight fire." where can we find, where can we find more plutonic rock? I mean, people are just thrilled with this information. And so, yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Go for it.
We tore down an old shed that was next to my house this is on the Canadian Shield. And, we basically, I had the guy, my neighbor, he come out with a bit backhoe and he's like, let's dig down, see how deep it is. Cause that was the advice we got. Let's just see how deep, cause we're going to put a new thing in over there. Boom. It starts filling up with water. And the rock, by the way, that we hit that was loaded with water, guess what? It's exactly that striated 50% quartz, 50% granite. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I mean,
Right there.
and I can show you guys that, when one day Michael Joseph or Ray, you guys will come up to my place and I'll be like, see that rock right there? Watch, let me dig in the ground. Watch, we'll just dig in the ground and you'll see that it's soaked. That that rock is always wet, even in the middle of the summer, in the hottest dry spell, soaked in water.
When you said something comes from nothing, I mean, that unto itself, just to ponder on that, you could meditate on that for days, is really profound. And that we create our own water. Everything we need is all around us. That brings that to a whole nother light. That's super, super profound. And as you're saying that, I'm thinking, something comes from nothing, but really something comes from everything. It's everything. Everything is part of the production of life. Everything is part of the production of our reality.
That is, if you really dig into it. Now, the way I became aware of that, Michael Joseph, is the amount of pressure. Like, I never received any kind of pressure like that to do drugs. That's for sure. I mean, the amount of pressure coming from the scientism people, the establishment, the physics community, they were always like, no, something has to come from something else. And I was just like, no, that's not what's going on here.
Well, it's also to keep us cloaked so that we can't access our true power. Even mystically, you look at the mystery schools and it teaches us how to access our full potential. And, in the tarot, card number 1 is the magician. And that's really the ability to pull something out of nothing. Anybody who really devotes themselves to a spiritual path has to learn that that's the highest principle. And sometimes we're brought to our knees. And I think maybe that's what's happening collectively right now. So we can recognize that we can literally pull something out of nothing. We can pull the future out of our hat, but not out of our hat randomly, out of this deep connection we have with the wisdom of Mother Earth by following what you call our instincts. I love that because it totally neutralizes any charge of people who are intuitives or psychics or whatever. We all have these instincts that show us the way.
Thanks for bringing that up. Some people do have a great sense for dowsing and some people have a great sense for finding water, but everybody has a sense for where the spring water is. It's just amazing. It's an instinct that we have. And it's cool to exercise it. And what I love about findaspring.com or findaspring.org is when you start going to those places, you start going, oh, what's going on here? And suddenly you see the mushrooms growing there too, or all the different herbs that you need for that ecosystem are all growing around the spring. A good friend of mine hunted he hunted reishi mushroom all over the state of Arizona, only found it ever growing at the source of springs in the state of Arizona. Found that to be interesting.
I would love to take you down the 11-Point River in the Ozarks of Missouri sometime, where apparently that's the largest spring head of primary water in North America. To other, it was brought to my attention. I've been going down that river it will be 30 years in a row this year, and I've never understood why I was so attracted to the water. And it's stone cold, yet you never want to get out of it. It's so enlivening and at the spring head itself, you can put your hands or wherever you are at the spring head, your body will turn blue. It'll illuminate.
Is this in the state of Missouri?
Yeah, this is in the Ozarks. So we should just journey there sometime. I go there every year for sure.
That's it. I grew up in the state of Missouri, Columbia, Missouri, a lot of my life, Moberly, Missouri, Jefferson City. Would love to go down there with you, and I'm well overdue. So deal.
Let's journey. Let's trek it. Let's trek it.
So, what a fascinating conversation. And David, it's always so wonderful to hear your wisdom and to hear these gems.
Yeah.
And, to cast out the ripples, right? Like you throw a rock in the water and the ripples, they go forth. And so may this wisdom shared go forth, and may we all integrate it into our own lives in ways that bring us more alive, to recognize that we have the power to create something out of nothing. That, again, water can show us. I mean, I think Victor Schauberger, he sat there looking at the water, and then he was given the downloads. Yeah. So, that's the secret, is that we sit in nature, with nature, in admiration, in gratitude, in appreciation, and then nature starts communicating with us. The thing is that nature doesn't speak English. Nature speaks signs. Nature speaks chills. Nature speaks synchronicities and connections. So, so thank you so much, David.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much.
That was awesome. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it so very much. Love you. Look forward to seeing you guys in a couple days.
Yeah. Yay. Thanks, team. Aloha.
Thank you. So, wow. Well, so actually that feeds so wonderfully into Michael and I have a song to share. And I was going to talk about primordial water. When I started, I got really interested in a Bible verse, in the story of creation. And it says, in the beginning, there was darkness upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit moved upon the waters. And it was like, hold on a second. How was it so that in the beginning, the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters? That kind of suggests that the waters were there before. So I started to kind of go on this journey and found references of these primordial waters, these original waters from all over the world. In Egypt, it's represented by the goddess Nun. She represents the primordial waters. In Hinduism, it's called Eknarva, and it's this cosmic sea. And Narayan, Vishnu, who is manifest as Narayan in some aspects, he sits on this cosmic sea and he slays the demons of our mind that cause ripples in this primordial ocean. So, we can connect with primary water, which is in our earth, and we also can connect in with the primordial water, which is the substance out of which all creation comes. And I love how the direction that we kind of took a little turn and talked about something coming out of nothing, because our highest capacity as a spiritual being, as a human incarnate of spirit, is this ability to create something out of nothing, to manifest, or maybe it's an implosion. It's not a projection, it's a calling to ourselves. And so the song that Michael and I are going to sing is called My Body is a Church. And it's this reclamation of ourselves as sacred, of our ground as sacred, of our holy world as sacred. And in Michael's educational fellowship, there's this one aspect in the trifecta, the declaration of knowingness. And around the same time as he shared the declaration of knowingness with me, I was working on a class for my singing school. We sing to the earth to build this relationship with the unseen world. And I was working on a class to restore our body temple to its sacred, its original stainless purity, and coming across this declaration of knowingness, which is this declaration of, myself as under dominion of the power of powers, and myself as a living, breathing being, which has the dominion of Creator. The Creator is my dominion, and so this song came out of it. And the song is this declaration of our true nature, and the ability then we have to source something out of nothing. And we can do that in ourselves, in our world, in our work, and with our waters. And also the imprints that we imprint upon our physical being, upon our mind, bodies, and hearts, then it's reflected in the water. So we're healing the water simultaneously as we're restoring our own original stainless purity.
So we want to invite you to perhaps close your eyes, get into a meditative state, and tune in to the words that are coming forth, and recognize this within yourself, that your body is the church temple,
Should we share the words so they can read them?
Yeah, let's share the words, yeah.
Okay, so we'll share the words. In theory. Yes, our words disappeared.
Yeah, we lost our words. We got to pull them back up. So, being that most of us that are in any sense of awareness recognize that our bodies are temples, and we are carrying the sacred water within ourselves, and that's why it's important to recognize that every word, thought, deed, action affects our body temples. So again, find your way into a meditative state and try to really hone in on the words that are coming forward and recognize this within yourself.
And sing along if you feel so called. And connect in with your heart. My body is a church, my heart the living altar. The forest is my temple, the mountains are my oracle.
My body is a gift, adorned with sacred pathways, like trails that lead to fertile fields and flowing waterways.
My body is a church, holy and miraculous, as is the world around me. The waters are my sacrament, the ground beneath my feet is as hallowed as it gets. All creation singing praises to life immaculate. Beautiful, oh beautiful, this blessed life I call my own. Beautiful, oh beautiful, this holy ground I stand upon. My body is a church, the place I go to worship. The forest is my temple, my heart is how I connect.
On my head a starry crown, my feet upon the kingdom, my left hand filled with mercy, my right hand wields the discipline.
My body is a church, my soul ordained by the Most High, in service to the intelligence of the great architect of life. Oh, love pours through the fabric of all the space and time, and we hold the magic that makes the world divine. Beautiful, oh beautiful, this blessed life I call my own. Beautiful, oh beautiful, this holy ground I stand upon. Beautiful, oh beautiful, I am beautiful, beautiful, I am And just feeling these words. My body is a church, my soul ordained by the Most High in service to the intelligence of the great architect of life. May we see our waters imbued with that same intelligence. A dear friend of mine, Varushka, she says, purity renews itself. So we come back to this holy ground that lives within us, to this holy ground of our words, of our waters, and feel all is renewed. And on this winter solstice portal, we have the capacity to impact greater change, to feel this unified field, not only of our shared heart coherence, but the waters of our body in shared coherence, that we sing together with one heart, we pray together with one heart, and it is said that then we are heard by the great mother of the universe. And it is truly this call for spirit to wash over our lands, to wash over the people, to transform the world from the inside out.
Thank you for hearing that. It's challenging for me to really embody those words and not be moved to tears. It's so beautiful. Thank you for allowing us to bring it forward. Thanks for hearing it.
Yes. And how beautiful that the journey continues. And we get to bring, did you rename Gina?
I didn't, so she should be under my name. She should be listed in as one of the hosts.
But we didn't make her so we're
I made
inviting
her co-host.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're inviting in Dr. Gina Bria, and
we can rename her when she's in the room.
Spotlight.
Hey, there she is.
Hello. Oh, I'm so happy.
Hello.
Thank you so much for that song.
Oh.
And you have a piano as well behind you. We have 3 pianos
I'm into the music. Oh my goodness.
in the spotlight of the host.
I hope I'm going to say something really shocking.
Well, it will be music to all of our ears, I'm sure.
Yeah, no
and
doubt.
Yes.
to give you a little introduction, Dr. Gina Bria is an anthropologist and founder of the Hydration Foundation, which is recognized as a leading resource for hydration, science, and education. She's been named a Real World Scholar and produced the first International Hydration Solutions Summit and the TEDx talk, How to Grow Water. It's not only blue, it's green. She's the co-author of Quench, Your 5-Day Plan to Optimal Hydration. And it's now in 7 languages, recommended by the New York Times, and the accolades go on and on. So it is a great blessing, a great honor to have you here. Thank you, Gina.
Yes, Michael, Reya, thank you so much for making this opening, this window for us during the solstice. I think we said I'm an anthropologist. I've spent a greater part of my career looking at ritual around the world, and came to find a special place in my heart for water, and decided to found the Hydration Foundation as I stumbled into how desert communities were hydrating without liquid. How they didn't have it, so how could they? What were they doing to hydrate? And really came across some very powerful information from traditional societies that they are using water locked inside food. And that to me was such a major finding. I was very excited to know more and try to learn more about why a date is as hydrating as a glass of water, and why aloe and cactuses could hydrate. And that's when I stumbled into the work of Dr. Gerald Pollack, and understanding that there's a form of water, a gel water, easy water, structured water. Many of us may have already heard these words: ordered water, coherent. Every discipline comes at it with a different word, right? But the upshot for me was really beginning to understand that that water comes in different forms and different phases to do different kinds of work. And one of the things I'd love to just launch right now, because of your song, is recognizing that water in a gel state or a structured state or plasma state receives frequencies very powerfully. They're much more imprinted on water, that it matches the water inside of our cells. And so when we sing, we're actually hydrating. It's actually shaping the form of water inside of us and helping us become more hydrated because the cells are able to receive that water. And that's that makes us be able to say that a glass of water is a song is as hydrating as a glass of water. And that's the shocking thing I wanted to share with you. A song is as hydrating as a glass of water.
Wow. I don't know if
Yes.
you
Really,
can
really,
see us,
from
but
a science point, like no, like we can measure it. So
wow.
that's quite extraordinary. That's quite extraordinary. Um,
Solid bring forward right there. Mic drop.
right? So it helps us, the work at the Hydration Foundation is really help us understand profoundly how much we are made of water, because we're so used to thinking of it as liquid that we expect, if we're 99.9% by molecular count water, why aren't we sloshing, right? Like we should, if we're that much water, why don't we understand ourselves in that way? And part of it is just helping people get to the envisioning that every cell in their body is a tiny little packet of water. It's a little balloon of water. And that's why you don't slosh. They're all the little balloons packed up next to each other. And that their main purpose is the water is there to conduct electricity and information. So why we are water beings, how biology works is through the network of water in every living thing. All cell biology is water based. So this is really helps us rethink what we actually are and why we're having these conversations about water, why they're so essential, that you get that you are a mobile water tower and that you're constantly broadcasting through your cellular signaling. And that broadcast is about your health, about what health you're broadcasting, what essence you are as a personality, your unique gifts. All of those things are being broadcast, right, by the tower of water that we are. And then also what we receive, right? The reception, our reception is extraordinary, and we're not paying attention to how much more we could be, how much more information, life, other essences, listening to plants, listening to trees, listening to the mycelium, that we can enhance our capacity to receive far more life if we're getting that we're a water being and we're well hydrated. Right? This is all connected, that hydration, those little balloons of cells, when they're not well hydrated, they're crumpled and they don't send out signaling in this clear, beautiful, purified form. So that's a lot of information to take in. And I don't want to scare you with too much.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yes, we're hanging on every word over here.
Well, the real thing I want to hand us on the solstice is um, that the resiliency, the new resiliency we have available to us as well hydrated, upstanding broadcast towers, as we understand that we are, if we get ourselves well hydrated, and all the ways that we can do that, including exposure to sunlight, grounding, listening to music. I listen to music all the time. I'm more well hydrated through music than I probably am through my glass of water. But those frequencies coming in are essential. And of course, drinking is always valuable. Trying to get good water into our system, using beautiful foods to hydrate. You're a system within a system, and all of that works together. Hydration isn't just about guzzling all that water. But what I want to share with you is a song, because we're talking about songs, and I want to share a very vibrating song, and I want to share a little bit about how this song came into being. So, as the Hydration Foundation, I recognize that the education around water was just sorely lacking. We were still thinking that guzzling was the way to do it. And we we realized that we really needed to help this new science about the stages of water to come out into the world. So I went to Gerald Pollack and I said, hey, how about if we organize a TED Talk for you? At this point, I was running the TED community, the TED Salon in New York. It was easy as pie. It was all set up, ready to do, like, come on over. And we asked, we got actually 4 TED Talks out of that event. It was the first ever TED event on water, especially on structured water. And as I'm planning this event and everything's falling together, absolutely beautiful. A hotel offered us overnight for the scientists who were flying in. We got a gorgeous room. A film crew came in. I'm like, yeah, but we need somebody to bless this event. Like we need to find what are we going to do? So of course, when you open up your capacity to send out information, broadcast and receive, the next thing I know, I'm sitting next to a Algonquin grandmother elder. Her name is Grandmother Nancy. And I like, hi, want to come over and bless our event on Saturday? And of course she did. And actually, it was at great cost that she got herself to New York City to do a blessing over this event, to bless the scientists and their work. This included Stephanie Seneff as well, if some of you may know her work, besides Gerald Pollack. We had people there from Cirque du Soleil. It was a really just one of those magic moments. And the event allowed us to put up talks on water, structured water. They're now over 1.5 million views have been going on. And it all went beautifully. And Grandmother Nancy went home. And a few days went by, beep, 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 beep. And I got this call. And she's like, okay, you're it. You're the person. We need to send a women's song out into the world so that women would sing to their water and call back this reverence inside of themselves and send out this reverence. And we think you can help us do that. And so as magic things happen, within a month, we had a film crew, a director, and an amazing group of people who came together to sing the water song. This is not without great cost. All of this it sounds easy when I'm saying it, but Grandmother Nancy actually had to take a very arduous trip to northern Canada to get permission to sing this song out into the world. So we're receiving a privilege to hear this song, which Reya is going to play for us. And I'll just tell you, it's 4 minutes, this film, and it will lead you through a song that then we can learn. It'll help you sing it. It's right in the screen. So we'll just do this whole thing together. And remember that you're hydrating as you sing this. You're also bringing reverence, which elevates all of us and changes our identities. So this is a ritual song that helps change our ability to receive and to give to water on the solstice.
Thank you, Gina. And one thing I would love to add is what you're sharing with us is a transmission in addition to the song. And there's when we get in touch, when we take the time to receive that transmission from a grandmother, from the water, from the wind, then the words are imbued with a power. All of our power is a gift. It's imbued through an energy that then animates the source. So, taking these words without the mindfulness, without the heart, it doesn't have the impact. And so may we take this transmission, really deeply receive it, and then how we receive it is then we work with it, we use it, we go to the water, we sing, we take the time, we listen, and may this be an example of our lives, and how we can receive transmission and then work with transmission. So thank you, Gina. I hope that's okay to say.
Oh, yes, Reya. Thank you. That's beautiful and important. Thanks.
Okay, so here we go.
Granddaughter, The water can hear you. The water has memory.
Nibi,
Nibi,
Wabo,
Wabo,
Endayan,
Endayan.
Nibi, Wabo, Endayan, Aki Misli, Nibi, Wabo, Heya, 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 Hey, Heya, 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 Ho.
Water is the life's blood of our mother, the earth. Water is the lifeblood of our own body.
Nibi, Wabo, Endayan, Aki Misli, Nibi, Wabo, Heya, 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 Hey, Heya, 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 Ho.
To continue to pass on the knowledge that needs to be given unto the other generations. You are the keeper of the water.
Nibi, Wabo, Endayan, Aki Misli, Nibi, Wabo, Heya, 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 Hey, Heya, 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 Ho.
To make the change in this life condition that we're in, that great-grandchildren will stand up to this truth of what life is about and to live it in such an honorable way, the way ancestors came to this earth.
Nibi, Wabo, Endayan, Aki Misli, Nibi, Wabo, Heya, 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 Hey, Heya, 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 Ho.
Each day when the sun rises, no matter how bad the day before might have been, there's a new chance for your hopes and dreams. And I say, Chimiigwech, thank you for singing the water song.
Nibi, Wabo, Endayan, Aki Misli, Nibi, Wabo, Heya, 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 Hey, Heya, 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 Ho.
Well, there you have a very extraordinary set of circumstances coming together. That song is called singthewatersong.com. You can go there anytime. I've learned it so that I could sing it while I was doing the dishes. That was my commitment, that I could do the dishes, let the water run, just take each phrase. I learned it over time, and I'm so happy to give that to all of us today and share it.
Oh, so beautiful. Wow. I put that link in the chat.
Thank you. Thanks for helping spread it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, very moving. And what a powerful practice. We're here, we're talking about the water, but then how beautiful to be with the water and sing with the water. And did you want to sing it? You want to sing it to each of the directions? You want to lead us in that?
Could I think it's hard because you're just learning it for the first time, hearing it for the first time. If you would just let me sing it to you tonight,
Great.
just to be
Yeah.
another iteration, but
It's all
because
yours.
here is a community.
Do you want me to sing it? Do you want me to share the screen with the words on it while you're singing it?
Yeah, that'd be great. That would be great because it just helps people kind of get there. It takes a while. It's supposed to be sung. Grandmother Nancy would say, "You're lullabying the water," and I always love that. So, just going to take a second to draw in, and then I'm going to vibrate your music, your cells, and sing this song to you, but also to water. It goes like this. Nibi wabo endayen aki miskwi nibi wabo heya 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 hey heya 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 ho.
Thank you, Gina. Thank you for bringing that forward. What a beautiful addition to this wonderful ceremony that we've been in today. I loved the video. The smiles and the hearts in that video were so beautiful. They were so penetrating. And it was wonderful to see our friend Jennifer Phillips in there.
Oh, indeed. Yeah. Indeed. Yes. Anything with her hand on it happens.
Right. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Many hands, many hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know you were traveling today, so really appreciate
thanks
you
for making it.
Through it all, just leaning in tonight. So thank you so much. Great to see you.
Yeah, it's a gift. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Thank you. So thank you so much, everyone, for being part of our journey. And next we get to bring Russ Anderson.
Le Mistro. The Mistro of the heart.
And Russ is the founder of Clear Water Vision. He is a wisdom keeper of primary water, a colleague of Dr. Yule Brown, an expert in Brown's gas, and he has been working on cleaning and clearing Clear Lake, which is in Northern California. It's considered the oldest lake.
Oldest natural lake.
And so he has a little presentation. And Russ, it is an honor to have you here. Another one who's been a pioneer in this field. And we're so glad to welcome you here today.
Wow, you guys are just so amazing. This is really the most powerful thing that I could see happening tonight is that everybody got really involved. And as I see what's happening right here, I just want everybody to know I'm going to do the best I can to try to convey that you are all correct and you're all right. Gina, thank you for all of that. I feel your heart and I understand, and I know, Michael, you've been at Clear Lake for a weekend, which was very powerful, and I believe that this energy that we have, even though it's taken so many years, this is about 32 years since I met my mentor, and I wanted to explain that to you, but I was asking, Michiko, I don't know if you're on still, but Michiko had said something about do it, and so on. So I've been told so many years, and doing all of this is basically, or actually just somebody says do it, well, you're not teaching me anything, I'm not learning because you haven't done it, so I wanted to relate this to what we're doing at Clear Lake and why I look at it as the oldest lake in the Northern Hemisphere. that's on this side of the ring of fire. So imagine you're on a ring of fire, and there's been many rings of fire throughout the earth and so on. We just don't remember them, and we don't even know if this one's really we're learning from, and what we're learning from the ring of fire. So I want to go into this and why it's taken 30 some years and so on. And I look at it and I'm looking at the people here, and as I watch them, and even what Taylor was saying, he mentioned my name, and I said, but it isn't my name. It isn't me. It is not me. It's really God. And so I wanted to go to the masters as soon as possible and explain that, I had somebody in my life who was basically knew Yogananda and knew, before everybody else knew Yogananda way back in 1933. So he passed away. And it broke my heart because I go, how much time do we need to fulfill this? So I wanted to show you what we did at Clear Lake, and I wanted to say that we met a team of people that are working on the American side, but it's more than just the American side. It's this whole ring of fire that's teaching us and loving us, and what's coming out of these volcanoes and so on is united. It's united to all of us who got to speak tonight. And I just wanted to contribute so much of that to the people who I've known for all these years, because I was always threatening people that I was going to quit this job, and they didn't want they don't want me to do it. And I go, why don't you? Because we even get into clashing with each other because we think we're thinking different and we're not. And this camaraderie is so powerful right now, not just people that are here, but are really that are in our hearts for many years. All of these wonderful people, Steiner and all the other people we were talking about primary water, but we still had the structure water before we did all that. And I'm looking at what it was that creates a circle, and what truly does the circle. We have a trinity in the circle, and if you look at AI or whatever you want to do, it's still a duality without the trinity. And we're talking about the spiritual aspect of ourselves. And when you say God created the earth and all of this stuff, well, how did he do it? Well, with Dr. Hugh Brown, he said the sun is water. I said, well, how do you explain that? And I could not explain it unless I ran the machine on a 36 city tour around the country. And I was complaining all the time, because my mentor said, you will have a stadium at the end of the tour. And I said, that's impossible. We could only draw maybe 200 people a city, and still they weren't really listening. It's taken that many. In 1996, we created a stadium in Philadelphia. And basically, we created 7,000 people who basically came around because we could neutralize nuclear waste. Now, if somebody could neutralize nuclear waste, couldn't we do that all together? Couldn't we use that in almost everything we do? We're filtering our water, we're doing all sorts of things with structuring it and so on. But more than that, we've learned something about the spiritual aspect of who we are, more than anything we ever did. And I couldn't even tell that to the people that I love the most. We spend how many years being 007s, because we know something that's in our heart. We know it. We know it deeper in our heart. And I wanted to say, Michael, it was amazing just being there, and you sitting there and telling me, because I didn't think anybody would show up even at Clear Lake. And you were standing there and you were telling me, what do you mean? I'm here. We're going to find these people, and they all of a sudden appeared, okay? And some of them are on this line here, and some of them are there for us as people, as human beings. And so I wanted to tell the story of Clear Lake. What we call Clear Lake is the oldest lake in the northern hemisphere on the American side, okay?
Well, I'll share the screen. Should I share the screen?
Okay. All right, let's do that.
There's some images.
That'd be fine. Thank you.
So first I popped this image in here of the Ring of Fire so people can see what you're talking about.
Yes.
And we want to talk a little bit about the Ring of Fire and to get us into Clear Lake.
Well, yes, and you'll notice that it extends all around in a circle, but obviously the Ring of Fire has moved and so on as the Earth moves. Just like we moved and we get up and in the morning, we move around, we know who we are, and that's where we are. But Clear Lake was what they call the last of the oldest seeable volcano on the land. You know, it's on the land, on the surface of this area. We live at the oldest lake in the northern hemisphere, the Clear Lake is, okay? And it before it goes into the ocean. We live this, and we see, if you see this round thing there, that was the caldera many years ago. But because of different faults and things that went through there, and we talk about this, and I think Taylor was talking about it earlier, we've opened up different areas in which are needed because the earth needs to breathe. So Clear Lake is the last of the oldest seeable volcanoes. It's 100 miles away from the ocean, and yet it lives its being by what we're calling blue-green algae. They call it the home of blue-green algae, even, you know, because it travels. I think we were just talking about with Gina, we were talking about the psyllium, actually the mushrooms that come up from within the ocean and allow this all to happen, and it travels from the next and to the next and to the next volcano that's on the land. So we're talking in terms of this communication of volcanoes that have a mind. We're talking directly to the elements, and the elements are telling us all about what we've treated the elements incorrectly. In Clear Lake, we have a mercury mine there because we've developed that because we had to get the gold. That was a cash cow for California. That was a cash cow for the world, in a sense, because we were there that we could collect the mercury, and we treated it badly. We didn't do the right thing. We ejected the Native Americans out where they just don't like the white people anymore, and we developed something that was more important, and so on. So you see these red parts is where we threw what we call the orgone and the structured water and the actually literal prayers that we have for this oldest lake in America, and it should mean something to the rest of the world. And I'm only saying this because I seem to be prejudiced about this, but I was taken to this lake after I toured around the country because they literally kicked me out of that because they didn't want a spiritual aspect. They just wanted to own some money. And this is why I'm sitting here talking to you, how important it is to advance the understanding of primary water, to advance the understanding of the earth and how it loves us through this water. And we're only speaking in terms of that because of one lake, but it is not only just one lake, it's the whole world that we're talking about. So this is what, if Libby's still on here, but I wanted to tell you what she told me, and I wanted to bring in the graphs. And these are the areas that we had, that we went to. They call it the Oasis Oasis campground, and then the mercury mine. We went directly to the mercury mine. We went to do it. We didn't stand around. We said, "Oh, what are you doing anymore?" We did it anyway. It's already done now. So what we're looking at that human consciousness in and around the lake, where there's so much crime and there's so much drug taking, and all of this thing was aligned to that. So I knew we had to just do it ourselves, and so we just did it in just a few months ago. And so we dropped these what they call babies, what we're calling babies, because we had this experience with this element, or we call orgone, and we mixed it in with the structuring water from Schellenberger. We mixed it in with our prayers, and we're also looking at other technologies that will even enhance it even more. So I wanted to tell you, when somebody said, "What did you do?" I said, "No, it's what we did. We did it without any information from the government or anything. We had a team of people going together with us in our prayers, and we brought that together. And Keisha, filmed it, and we want to offer this to the rest of the people here, especially as we develop this importance of this healing of this lake. And it's not just this lake, but you're looking at the rest of I guess you'd just call it the Ring of Fire. So I want to go back even further than that, even because we're looking at Atlantis. It's at the other side of the ocean. And we have other people online here who know what we're talking about when they call this Sicilium, who know and understand how important it is to bring the life force of water up instead of treating it badly. And we did that here. The red mark there is if you look at the red mark, you look down into this area, it's a caldera of the lake itself. So since that time, you look at the time level, that was only 3 months ago. Okay, and what has happened is we've developed that in the overall shape of the lake itself is basically went to the bottom because we took these canisters or these babies, we took them and we put them in the sediment where the highest lots of mercury that exist. They still set in the sediment now, and it's growing and it's growing, and as you look at that growing, it leads to this. And every time we have a meeting, in a sense that we have a meeting, we invite people to come to the meeting, the basic premise of the lake elevates. These things that we call, we took some time off. You can see that. We took a time off. It's the prayers that we actually do. It's the intent that we have that makes it grow. And so I also went to the Yolo bypass, which is totally a different place. But at this elevation, we're looking at the Cache Creek that basically comes in there in that area, which is called UC Davis. UC Davis is the one place where it's 40 foot level. It's 40 feet sea level, and at 2000 or 2014 or whatever it is at Clear Lake, which is the caldera, is basically a higher area, and all of that's coming through UC Davis. But of course, UC Davis is full of pollution. They incredibly meet up with the pollution that's in there, and we've been studying that for 30 years. So we wanted to show how important this is, and how important your prayers are, and how important what Michiko is doing right now on the other side of the ocean, and how important it is that Dr. Emoto come here, and we met together back in 2010. Okay, so the whole world changed since then. He asked me, picked him up at the airport, and he says, how do you know this stuff? I said, well, I worked with Dr. Hugh Brown. You met him, you know, I mean, what this guy is famous, and he's telling me, you met Dr. Hugh Brown, you know,
Right.
can I get your autograph? You know, no, I mean, we're sitting there talking together, and since then, we've been more and more friends, even though he passed away. So I'm just telling you that I'm just happy as ever just to meet all of you people here. I want to just bring out the importance of what is going on in the rest of the world and why we have a potential of bringing up the real what they call blue-green algae, and how food can be made from it, and how the importance of bringing that all together. There's so much to talk to you guys about, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we can, and I know you're running out of time. You know, it's way past your bedtime, every bedtime. But I want to tell you, for one thing, this doesn't come from me. It wasn't coming from, you know, any of us. We're talking from our hearts here. And we really need to come together to recognize that we can't continue polluting the earth anymore. We can't continue polluting the water. And, you know, I was talking to Anna the other day, and she just, I remember the time when she almost accused me for killing rocks, you know, for killing a rock, you know, it just turned into a puddle with the brown gas.
Oh, right.
All fits together, because what we're looking for here is a definite thing. And if you remember, Michael, you know, all of that didn't come true in that time we were there. But now we found a blue flame. We found the way of doing this and developing it. But we first of all have to tell each other how important it is to have equality between masculine and feminine. And that's what brown's gas is. You get it to a flame that it turns equal. There's an equal, and that's what organisms are, and that's what real love is. It goes beyond the sexual love. It goes beyond that, and that's what we're here for. And we need to concentrate on that. There's so much research that we need to do. There's so much stuff that we can actually show. And actually, the lower hemisphere is basically Lake Titicaca, has the same kind of water, which is exactly the center of where the pyramids are. So let us communicate in this level, because I know even the people that I love, that I live with and that I hang around with, you know, even if they're, you know, lower friends and lower places, they're still my friends, you know.
Love them.
We're all.
You gotta love them all.
And so, Russ, what a beautiful way to close with our awareness at Clear Lake, with our awareness of Lake Titicaca. And, you know, one thing I so love about you is the heart that you bring to all
heart.
this.
Mistro of heart.
And the energy and the transmission that you bring through, and the recognition of the primary water, and the union of the lower waters and the upper waters. And, you know, I think throughout this journey that we've gone on tonight of prayer and of wisdom and of knowledge and of recognizing that we create something out of nothing, and the harmonization, I love how you spoke to, it's just duality if we don't have the Trinity. You know, we need to have the divine in it. We need to have God in it, in all we do.
Yeah, you know, even if you look at it in terms of, H2O, there's three of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's one of them that basically loves the hell out of us, you know. We have to realize that, you know, or there's never going to be an AI. It's never going to be something that loves us, and that's what we have to say.
Well,
And
thank you for that. And I think that's perfect segue into we're going to close with a song, a short song, and it's called Miracle. And it speaks to this, our divine human nature, and the reclaiming of that, the stepping into the ability to create something out of nothing, to our divinely human nature, and to recognize that divinity within the water, within our earth, within our collective consciousness. And Russ, we love you so much. And we're gonna move into that song because we're just at the top of the hour and we have to close. So God bless you, Russ. Thank you so much.
Russ, thank you, brother. Really great to see you. Thank you for sharing about what's going on at Clear Lake.
just go to clearwatervision.org and you'll.
And I'll send out an email with all the presenters' information, so everyone who's registered for the event can receive that.
And you get to read my book because it's about a romance between a volcano and the sky.
Oh, beautiful.
We're going to bring forth this last song and then we'll do a quick wrap. And thank you all for hanging out with us tonight and being in the prayer. It all matters.
And once more, we can get in touch with our intentions. You can rub your hands together, sending blessings to the waters of the world. And just in a reclaiming of our divine nature and the original stainless purity of the water. Isn't it time we walk on water again? Bring the dead to life and command the wind.
Isn't it time we remember who we are and born of our Mother Earth and born of the star, America, 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 that's who we are.
The sun rises, we breathe. Life lifts us up and brings us to our knees.
The water flows and the mountains touch the sky. The beauty of it all moves us the high. America, 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 that's who we are.
From deep within us,
Truth comes out like a storm.
awaking what lies dormant.
Oneness with the old.
We command the elements.
In our body and the lives.
Calling all of us back home.
It's time for us to rise. America, America, America,
Inhale deeply. Hold the breath. Squeeze the body. And exhale and just send blessings and blessings to the waters. Connecting with this beautiful being. Connecting with the waters of the world. Connecting with all it's showing us about ourselves. Sending love and gratitude to the waters of the world, to the waters in our body. And just allowing your consciousness to be populated with all things good, with happiness, health, joy, abundance, peace, high vibration. Seeing the anchoring of new earth frequencies. Seeing the divine intelligence of all beings illuminated from within, guiding our way forward. Seeing the divine intelligence of our Mother Earth speaking through to all of us. And then sending light and blessings ahead of us throughout the rest of this year into the year ahead. Seeing our world filled with light. Feeling that all is well. Seeing our children well loved and cared for. Our families and communities in harmony and at peace. And seeing this love and these blessings spread throughout creation. And we give deep gratitude. Aho.
Aho, amen, and blessings to all. Thank you all so much for your attention and intention, for being present tonight, creating this field of intention, field of love and awareness and consciousness. All this matters, especially as we come together. It's exponential. So thank you for listening to the ping and showing up tonight and spreading this love around the world. This recording will be shared, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people watching the recording. But please feel free to share it with your friends and loved ones, and we'll keep you apprised of the next water ceremony that we'll do in a matter of months. And I think this is our third or fourth one. I forgot now, but
yeah. And thank you so much, David Wolfe,
yes,
Russ
thank you,
Anderson,
everyone.
Erin Sojourner, Gina Bria, Tyler Woodard, Michiko Hayashi, Michael Joseph,
Reya Manna.
Just thank you so much. And, use this time. We have the new moon tomorrow. We have the winter solstice on Saturday. We're leading up through the end of the year. This is a powerful portal to pray, to set your intentions, to get clear on what you're available for, to get clear on all that something that you're pulling out of nothing.
Something you're pulling out of.
I think that what happened is Michiko was saying that she's going to have an event on the 21st.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
And if people want to come in and do another Zoom and, do something right there, she said she would help organize it and so on. So
Okay, well then I can share the link
Yeah,
for that
we'll
when I
send
send
it
out
out.
the follow-up email.
that everybody here is just, we love this. It's just the more prayers, the more intent, the more love we have with each other, the more the earth will change. And
Yeah.
can you imagine
We are the change.
talking to all the elements, every last one of them, they all want to speak to us, It's
They
so,
are when we listen.
yes. All right.
Well, thank you,
Thank you, everyone. I love you.
Happy
Huge
winter
love.
solstice.
Blessings.
Blessings.
See you soon.
Bye. Oh.